Okay, so it says it's going live. I'm live. Yay, I'm glad because I'm having major problems, YouTube. There's problems with clicking live and going live and doing stuff. But it doesn't matter. It's Sunday and it's time for the Sunday service. We have landed. Whatever happens when I click live, the whole thing goes, live streaming service is not available anymore. Good luck, and leaves you there all on your own. But we are live. I hope everybody can hear and see okay. So everybody let me know if it's in the comments there. Just make sure that it's all working. You can hear and see. I fear there is a slight lag between the pictures and the audio, but it doesn't really matter, does it? I don't think. I think you can hear me okay. That's the most important part. As it is more of a what you would call an audio stream than a video stream. The chat seems to have died now. YouTube, you are scary. Sound and video are out of sync. I know, I can't help that, unfortunately. For whatever reason, OBS has decided to lag everything behind. As long as you can hear it, though, you should be okay. I know it's a visual thing, but you should be able to hear it. I have very hot coffee. My wife just made me a minute ago. It was gorgeous. She lasted the whole time. All good audio and pics. So, okay, we're good. We go back to the start. Today, we're going to be talking about car dealers that are closed. Kia has announced that they're extending their warranty on cars while the dealerships are closed. Okay, so if you own a Kia, this will probably appeal to everybody in fairness, not just Kia, but if you own a Kia, and during this pandemic time that we're going through right now, the dealership is closed and you've got a problem with your car under warranty, Kia will continue to honour that warranty. So it's like pausing your warranty now and it will continue after. So don't worry about it. It'll be okay. The dealership is closed. There's nothing to do about it. Most dealerships are available by phone. So don't be afraid of phoning up your dealership and asking questions, right? If you really need to. There's no problem with that. They will be there for you. It's just physically they're probably closed. One or two of them are staying open, but I don't know which ones they were. I thought Joe Duffy was going to stay open or something, and Windsor Motors, or a couple of them anyway, were trying to stay open at the time. Also today I'm going to announce the competition winners. The one for the car in the forest, the destroyed car in the forest, had only one correct answer out of the hundreds of answers we got. There's only one single correct answer, and it was on Facebook, and I will find it and I will show you the picture and I'll tell you what the car is, reveal what that is. And Mark Turner Smith needs to get in touch with me. Will you email me, please? Because not last week, actually, it was this week. We did a live Sega Mega Drive. We're playing video games, and I gave away some books and DVDs belonging to Top Gear and Jeremy Clarkson books and stuff, all these kind of stuff. And Mark Turner Smith picked the correct numbers. So send me an email, bobflav@thenextgear.com, with your postal address, please, and I'll get that stuff into the post to you. And as soon as I can go outside the front door, we'll all get back into the post again. Also, I was looking at some other stuff this week, and I came across some Braveheart gear that I was in as well. And I put pictures up online and stuff, what it looked like when I was in Braveheart back in 94, I think it was. I think that was 94, something like that. There is actually a Braveheart reunion group on Facebook that I'm a member of. Braveheart Warriors or something it's called, but anyway, there's a group there that I'm still a member of, and there's a few people in that are from the original Braveheart. If you were in Braveheart or you were part of the FCA or the army at the time, get in touch. I may have a picture of you somewhere, because on the last kind of couple of days of Braveheart I took some pictures of everybody. Also, coronavirus advice seems to be a big thing at the moment, and it's very important that you at best try to stay home as often as you can, but failing that, going out, make sure you wash your hands. There is some very, very good video stuff that I've seen online coming from the NHS in the UK, where a man explains exactly how this is all transferred and how we're all getting it, how it's so easily transferred from person to person. And when you listen to it and watch it, it really only takes a couple of minutes for you to figure out that we're all doing the wrong thing by not washing our hands often enough. And the advice is true. Wash your hands, stay home as often as you possibly can. Don't shake hands with people if you do go out. Try to stay 2 meters away from everybody. It stops the infection dead. Just simple as that. If we get through 2 weeks of this without infecting new people, we'll probably just kill the virus dead anyway. It'll be fine. Anyway, we'll go through some of the comments. Chris Dolan Egan washed the car yesterday, 2008 Toyota Avensis. I have a new office I'm after opening up upstairs, which is after just happened. My wife will probably kill me if I do any more with it now, but it just happened. We have a sort of an office upstairs that I'm going to do the live stream from if I can. And the Wi-Fi might not be strong between the two, but we'll see if I can get the two to work together. If I can, I can. If I can't, I can't. But I'm going to try anyway. See what happens. And up there I have the 2007 Toyota Carina Haynes manual on the wall, because I had one. And I had some Micras and Corollas. Found all kinds of things. Robert Doyle says, afternoon Bob and chat, working in the garden this morning when the weather was nice, and now it's cat out here. Very Irish thing to say. It's cat. It's cat means it's bad. How's the lockdown going for you lot so far? Lockdown for me is boring. But in fairness, it's not terribly different from what I was doing, other than there's no travel and no swapping cars would be the two things that had popped out that haven't, I don't go to Dublin to swap any cars. We haven't been outside of Portlaoise in 2 weeks. Don't know, we went for a walk up, before the lockdown we went for a walk up Slieve Blooming. It was the last time we were actually outside of Portlaoise to go anywhere. So we don't have we have no infections, or at least no symptoms. According to what the NHS says, we may have already had it. May have already carried it home and had it and put it back, and it's gone, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. Brian says, seeing the weather was good last few days, I watched the I-30 and the I-40, two Peugeots, 208s. I say I was shattered when the understatement of my exercise. Now I'm off to drive a bus. Stay safe. Stay safe, Brian. You look after yourself. It's raining now. It's been raining for about an hour and a half. Haven't had much rain in Ireland. Be honest with you, really haven't seen a lot of rain over the last, 2 months or something. Just showers. Little showers have come down and gone again. It really has been very quiet on the weather front. Brian Evans, the other day actually I was messing around in the backyard. I could have got a suntan, it was lovely. Brian Evans says, hi, the Corsa E standing in Spain worries, 12 volt battery run down, tyres flat, spotted in paintwork, anxious to get the car, cancel purchase or discount pursued. Your views please. Well, we see this is the first time in history, well in modern history, that we've had a pandemic. And so the vast majority of business that's going on right now is the first time we've had to deal with this problem. It's the first time this has come up. So we're not sure. Realistically, they can't move that car until the restrictions lift, until workers can get back to work, until people can be able to go and get their stuff. So it's the same for charging the battery. They can't charge it, they can't do anything with it, the batteries will go flat, but they will definitely not deliver that car to you in that position. Tests will happen to make sure those batteries are okay and everything's working fine for when you get the car. That's not to say you shouldn't be paying attention to the detail in that car as to how long it's been standing there. We have had situations here in Ireland where certain car companies have been left in fields during floods, right? And we're seen on helicopter in the floods, and those cars ended up in forecourts, right? So it can definitely happen. I wouldn't cancel it, because cancel it means that car will be re-allotted to somebody else and you won't get it because they will sell out very quickly. But right now we're in a point where it's quite difficult to get cars delivered, electric or otherwise. It really doesn't matter whether they're electric or anything else. Getting them delivered is a problem. Even petrol and diesel ones are having trouble with that. So I would hold tough, get in touch with Opel Ireland. If you have trouble doing that, get in touch with me and I'll get in touch with Opel Ireland for you, no problem. But it's coming, Brian, is the best answer I have for you at the moment. If you have your order number, I can get a hold of them and actually check to see where your car is. I mean, your actual car. Robert Doyle, have you ever drove the Mitsubishi Pajero Shogun? Because it's gas, because in Spanish Pajero means... that. But yeah, I have driven both of them, yeah, and there is a few other cars out there that have names that in other languages they're quite rude. Hyundai have one, haven't they? I can't remember what it is, but there's one in the Hyundai that I believe has a name that doesn't make any sense. Annie McAfee is here. It's removed all the comments were made on here yesterday from early waiters. That's true. I know, yeah, and that's the problem. I don't know what happens to YouTube. Unfortunately, YouTube is kind of a rudderless ship at the moment. We're getting some information from some of the creator types in the background at home, but like we're looking at their living room as they make a little video and upload it on YouTube creators, and then sometimes that doesn't appear in the list. You don't know there's an actual video up there, so communication with YouTube at the moment is quite low, as is ad revenue. Views are down for everybody. Obviously there's not much content being made, so everything is kind of nosediving across the world. Everybody's kind of struggling right now to try and find stuff to put out, to make content. I have a sort of a plan to make a video with a few motoring journalists, live chat, a split screen live chat, I was actually Marek Drives come up with the idea for us to do it, and we're going to try something with it next. We're going to test and see what we can do. If I can do it, I'm going to get people. I get Johnny Smith on maybe. I might get Alex Goy, Dave Humphreys, or someone else who can give an alternative opinion, and we'll do some live streaming during the week as well, sort of podcast style. But we'll do it from each other's houses. We need a certain amount of equipment. Is the problem? It's always the bloody problem is equipment. Derek Norris is here. Derek, how are you? Irish Foxhound, afternoon one and all this wet day. It's wet now. It might get nicer. Very windy last night. Film recommendation. I watched Knives Out last night. That's very funny. It's very good. Sort of a sleuth whodunit comedy. And it's very, very good. Definitely watch it. Watch 1917, the First World War movie. I have to say I was left a bit cold by that. I'm normally into that. I love Dunkirk and those kind of, Saving Private Ryan and things. They're very good movies. But 1917 left me a little bit cold. Tonight's viewing is going to be Ford versus Ferrari, which I have not actually seen. I'm very amiss on these things. I should be watching that kind of movie. That's tonight's offering. I'm going to watch that and see what's like. Matt Damon. Matt Damon is currently trapped in Ireland, by the way. He's been spotted a couple of times in Dublin having a little jog about. He didn't get out before the lockdown, so he's stuck here. So hard luck. Tough. Just got to stick with it. Drink Guinness, you'll be fine. Mini Eggs, afternoon Bob, have you ever bothered with putting the mud flaps on a car? Not really. Used to do it years ago because the metal was sort of bare behind the wheels. And so within a couple of weeks, you'd chip up enough stones and enough crap behind the car that you would start to tear the paintwork off and you get rust then. So you would have done it years ago, put on a shaved mud flaps. But generally the old type mud flaps, the flappy ones, I wouldn't bother with them. But a nice shaped one can change how it looks. Depends on the car. I used to have mud flaps on my Toyota Carina all around. So yeah, they can be put on pretty nice and they look nice when they're there too. Nan McHugh, howdy folks. Hope you're keeping well. We are, so far so good. Peter Cupid is here. Eric Rochford. Afternoon, I think everyone is confused by what day it is this stage. Yeah, I know. I put up the stream link yesterday for today, and the first comment I seen was I thought it was Sunday. Everybody's lost track of days. It's kind of funny. By the way, this comes out as a podcast every Sunday morning. So this morning at 11 o'clock, I published the podcast version of this, which is number 22 in the automotive charts throughout the UK and Ireland. So thank you to everybody who downloads it off there as well. It's huge actually. To be honest with you, if you listen on the back stream, it's really good. Lots of people clean their houses to it, or go for a run, or go and do something. It's kind of humbling to know that I intrude into people's lives like that. But of course, this is live and people get to ask questions. So that's the kind of cool bit every Sunday. Let me know if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to do content-wise. I'm making a couple of films in the background, but they're long. It takes a long time to put together ones like the Mad Max one or the James Bond ones. You're talking about 2 or 3 days work versus something that could be done in an afternoon. So if you have an idea, email me. It's bobflav@thenextgear.com. That actually comes to my phone. I answer every email. I read every comment. I do all that sort of stuff. You can support the channel should you wish by Super Chat, which is the little Super Chat button that's right there. You can do it by PayPal, paypal.com/BobFlavin, or there's a link down below. You can do it by Patreon, which is there as well. That sounds really bad. Noel Davison is a very generous person, has already donated some money, and I have to give a big shout out today because I have to find the lady's name. Hold on. Kira Hennessy, thank you very much. You sent me an Amazon gift, which frightened the crap out because I didn't remember ordering it. It's actually a little tripod for my little Sony camera, which is perfect. A little cool little thing. Actually, it comes out on the bottom here and turns into a little proper tripod. So thank you very much, Kira Hennessy, if you're watching. It doesn't have any other details other than Amazon gift Kira Hennessy. That's it. That's all it says. So I don't know who you are. Send you a proper thank you note. But get in touch with me. Email me, bobflav@thenextgear.com. You're very good. List of other links down below. There are loads of them down there if you really want to get into supporting the channel in some or another. And I will be, when we get back to normal at some point, I'm talking currently to a camera dude to come and help do some filming. If we can make that work, we will put up much more content than we do right now, because it's just me doing all this rather than me and 5 other people like on some of the bigger channels. Mark Arundel is there. Jonathan Kelly. Afternoon, Bob. Hope you and the family are well. We are. Deadly. Lovely weather here in the Isle of Man. Shame we can only watch through the window. Yeah, Isle of Man. Are you on lockdown as well? Like the Isle of Man? I think you'd know everybody on the Isle of Man. We didn't close our ferry terminals. I don't know why. I think ferry terminals should have been closed long ago. Long ago. Because so many hundreds of people can come by ferry. But we're still not closed. You can still fly in and out of the country. Although there's no flights. They still fly and take ferries in and out of the country. I'm sure they'll eventually put it into lockdown. Hopefully. We seem to be getting a lot of outbreaks in nursing homes and in hospitals. And now over 1,000 healthcare workers have COVID-19. It's sad to see it happen. It's really sad to see that we weren't prepared with PPE. That's personal protection equipment. We weren't ready with it. We hadn't got it done. It's not fair, but they've imported some stuff from China, and that stuff seems to be really inappropriately done. John Carney says, sorry about the weird amount of money that he's sending by Super Chats. All money, John. Thanks for your content, Bob. Look forward to it every week. Send $5.49. Really weird amount of money, but yes, thank you very much. It's no problem. Anything at all is always welcome. It makes no difference how much or how little it is. John Carney also says, greetings to all my Sunday service colleagues. New record for me this week. I haven't been to a filling station in about 12 days. I started the car the other day. Normally to do 1,200 kilometres a week. Strange. Yeah, I have a press car out the front that's done 340 kilometres in 2 weeks. I'd normally do that in an afternoon. The diesel it's moved off to full, but it's not moved very far off full. So I could still do another probably maybe 900 kilometres that you'll get without having put any money in it. So it's kind of nice. Mark Turner Smith, afternoon all. You have won the books, by the way, Mark Turner Smith. The books that we give away on the stream the other day from Sega Mega Drive. Cross 13, thank you very much for joining us. Sound and video are all out of sync. I can't help that. I don't know why that is. It never used to be like that. Now it is. OBS seems to have done something strange here. I might have to rethink how I run the OBS system. Right, before we go any further, I'm going to show you the pictures that we had from the competition. Right, so one of the pictures we had was this. Hopefully you can still hear me at this. This is a brake disc, and this is how it ended up being identified, which is what I find really strange. The brake disc itself was actually identified on Facebook. Only one person did the research to see what that brake disc was, and that person is Peter Durman. Is it Durman or Drummond? I'm not sure which. You're on Facebook anyway. I will contact you through Facebook. The actual answer to the car, so if you look at my Instagram page or you look at my Twitter account, you will find a picture of a car that we found in the woods, me and the family who were out walking. Found this car, it's on this roof, took some pictures of it, put it up as a competition. You could win a dash cam. So I have the dash cam somewhere. I'll send you a dash cam. But Peter Durman has won it. One of the pictures was this brake disc, and the actual car is a Ford Sierra 1.6 litre or 1.6 litre. And that's his brake disc. So that was the answer to the competition. It is actually a Ford Sierra. A very nice little Ford Sierra, actually. Unfortunately, it's been in the woods for a long time on its roof, but it is actually a Ford Sierra. So now you know which kind of car it is. Eric Rochard, all good audio pick. Footy Ferraris here. Shane Houston, afternoon all, loud and clear, Bob, good man. William Bellingham, good man. Eric Rochford, a little out of sync, but managed fine. You don't have to watch. Stick me on television and put on something else and just listen. It's always good. Hellhound, hey up, Bob, and members of the Sunday service. Good to have you all here. Sunday service. Hope all is well. It is William Bellingham. Raymond Grace is here. Robert, good to see you, Bob. I'm lucky to live in a lovely part of North Yorkshire. At last, cyclists seem to have got the message, stay at home, thank the Lord. That's good. Cyclists and motorbikes, they're always difficult to get by when you're out there having a nice little country run. I downloaded a little app for my Mac, which might actually be doing the thing, which is called iSync or iSomething or other. What it's doing is showing me the temperature of the Mac. I always wondered why that fan was going on in the background. It was actually CPU gets to 100 degrees while I'm sitting here talking on the thing, but it's fine, it keeps going. John Kerwin is here. Hi John. Peter, I never pronounce your name, probably Scottish chap. You sent me messages the other day on Facebook. Hi Bob, everything is okay. You're doing a great job pronouncing my name correctly last week. It's a Scottish name from Loch Ness. Did you ever see the Loch Ness Monster? Seriously, did you ever see it? Or is it just waves? Or what? Tommy Turfmole is here. Zdenko is here. Afternoon, lads and girls. Jim Dunn. By the way, my audience has gone from 98% male to 89% male, and the rest is female. So females, you need to speak up. There's at least 11% of you out there. You need to speak up. And very rarely do I see a female name pop up, but I see one on the screen today. It's Debbie McGuire. Hi Bob, I hope you can help. I bought a brand new Fiat 500 that was to be delivered 10 days ago. The dealer is now closed and has said the phone that they'll get it when it's open. Are you in Ireland, or where are you based? If you're in Ireland, I'm able to get in touch with Fiat Ireland. The problem is Fiat Ireland would be very, very thin on the ground staff-wise. Have always been. But I know Colin up there. I can give him a buzz and find out where that car is, whether it's with the dealer or it's with the Fiat Ireland, or it's in transit, or it's on a ship, or where exactly it is. Don't forget, Fiats are built in Italy, and Italy has been on lockdown for some time, so God knows what's going to happen there. Jim Dunn, just let me know, Debbie, bobflav@thenextgear.com. Send me an email if you have an order number. So you get a number from the dealership that tells you it's an individual order number, and if I can get that, I can get in touch with the factory to find out exactly where your car is. That's tracked. That number is tracked. So if it's on a ship, or it's on a train, or it's on a truck, or wherever it is, I can find out where that's last been signed for. Jim Dunn, afternoon everybody. From Jim the bus driver. Are car dealerships going to fold? I think they might. Some will. I suspect it also noticed that the government changed the law with regards to redundancies. There's a lot of laws, a lot of rules and regulations that are coming out. A lot of people got in contact with me, said they didn't get that 350 quid a week that the government are giving out, but they got no notice to say they weren't going to get it. So there was nothing came from revenue, from social welfare, or anything else to say you're not getting it. It just didn't turn up. And now we're at the 5th of April. Tomorrow is probably mortgage day for quite a few people, the first Monday of the week, or the first Friday of the month, or whatever way your mortgage falls. So some people will be hitting into the red this week, and that's a tough place to be for people. That really is a tough thing to withstand. But look, we'll get through this. It's only money. Relax. Money can be replaced. People can't. So let's just try and stay safe for another little while, and we'll get there. Irish Foxhound says sync problem may stem from the advert at the start of going live. Does an advert play? Really? Seriously, an advert plays at the beginning of this thing? I don't think any ads play on the live streams. I know it plays on the playback, but I didn't know it played during the live stream. Footy Ferrari says, hi Bob, I was watching Marek Drive's live stream yesterday and I asked him about collaborating with you, and he said he hopes to get in touch with you soon. Looking forward to hear that. We have been texting. Yes, we have been texting about these things. So yeah, for sure, it's probably going to happen. If we can get by the technicalities of things. I didn't get a notification about him going live yesterday, so I missed the bloody thing. So I'll watch the stream back, but I've been trying to stop watching so much YouTube. That's what happened. And we watched a movie last night, which has absolutely nothing to do with YouTube. It's quite nice. Robert Tulloch, you are a very generous person. Thank you very much. Sent money by PayPal. You're very kind. Who is this now? Colin Foley is a very generous person too. Thank you very much, Colin Foley. You're all very good. You're so nice. You're so good. I love you all. Keep sending money. It's good. Send care packages and money. Pray for Bob and all that sort of stuff. We'll all get through this stuff. Noel Davison. 1 second now. Just going to zoom back up there. Did my usual thing of beautifully falling forward. Noel Davison. Hey Bob. Afternoon. Don't worry about the sound video being out of sync. I'll probably try not to, at least as best as I can here. Sure, we're all out of sync at the moment, it's true. Hope the app creating the photos never... that was the app, that's what I used to do the Braveheart pictures, Noel. So bang on, I bought that was $6.50 or something. Really good. Made my phone overheat, funny enough, after doing 2 or 3 of them. But it was really good. It's a really good little app. Let me see if I can find a name of it so I can recommend it to you. It's called Film Lab. And what it does is it takes negatives. You have to backlight them, so you need to put them up against a window with a piece of white paper, and it takes a negative and turns it back into a photograph that you can share on social media. So what I ended up doing was taking pictures of myself in Braveheart and developing them, and I've just been sharing them with people as well. See if I can just pull out one that I might be able to show to the camera without giving everything away. There's a picture of me. Hang on, just zoomed up a bit so you can see it. I don't have these on my laptop, so I can't put them on the screen. So there you are. There's a picture of me in Braveheart, all dressed up in the Wallace Clan outfit. I was in F Troop, which F Platoon or whatever they call it. So I was there for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks on Braveheart. Great crack. Cross 13 is a very generous person. You're very kind. Thank you very much. You're all so kind today to be donating money by Super Chat, PayPal, and everything else. Hopefully, you are able to see that. I'm slightly ahead of you on the video, so I can see the bits coming behind me. So what I used, that was from a negative. I never had a positive of that photograph. I just found a negative the other night, and have loads of them now developed. It's a bit of a faff using the app to do it, but it does mean you get an immediate thing you can put straight up on social media, and it's called Film Lab, and you get it it's $6.50 I think, or $6.99 or something. Mini eggs. Have you any luck digitizing your old cassette tapes? No, but I have been in touch with a man. We're going to do a collaboration in the near future who originally made the Braveheart behind the scenes documentary for the army. I don't think I'm in that. They filmed the people who just turned up for there was a group of 500 who were there for like 9 or 12 weeks or something, and then there was this other group of 2 or 1,000 people who turned up for 2 weeks, and those people got a sort of a documentary made because they didn't want to disturb the front row to get up there with Mel Gibson and all that stuff, so they left us alone. But he has hours and hours and hours and hours of tape footage, Betamax tape footage, and he also has a VHS player. And I've been talking to him about digitizing the Braveheart documentaries to make a new one, because the 30th anniversary is in 3 years. So we're going to shoot a documentary about being in Braveheart, the filming locations, behind the scenes, and do all that, and use the footage we have. Plus I will be digitizing, because my mother's 70th birthday there is on VHS, and I'd love to see that. And I don't even have a VHS player anymore, so I will get there though eventually. Dave Malloy. Hi Bob, what's with all that going on? I presume there will be a delay in the new cars being released as intended later this year. Thinking about the Skoda Octavia, any thoughts? There will be a delay, but it's all going to happen very quickly, because car companies are losing a lot of money, because not only are they shut, but there is no new orders for cars coming in either. The sales of cars dropped by 65% or something down in March, because obviously dealerships were ramping downwards. And now they're kind of at zero, effectively, because most dealers are shut. So either new cars are just not selling at all, or used cars are only being sold through Done Deal or whatever. And even, like, if someone was trying to sell you a car tomorrow, would you really want to go and meet them and face-to-face and have a conversation about handing over cash? It's just like, the whole world has changed. And right now, they're having to reinvent it. I sent out a link the other day for the virtual tour. I put it on my Facebook page on the Sunday Service chat. The virtual Volkswagen thing, which is pretty good. It's really good. So like a proper walkthrough, and I think that's where I see those kind of shows going from now on. I was reminded today that in last December or November or something, I was at a show where the Octavia was shown, and there was like 900 people at it. That was like the start of coronavirus. Not that show, but it was at that time where coronavirus actually started happening, and into January. Then when I was at other shows, like the Say It Leon live show, I came back from that and I felt very ill for a couple of days after that. So who knows how this is going to run out, but like, cars are ready to go. They're going to just start making them again as fast as possible, but getting orders in, who's going to order them? Who's going to buy them all? I think we're shining a light on a different part of life, where it's not necessarily that we want to get new things all the time. How much have you spent in the last 2 weeks on anything, like where you would have wandered up to like Liffey Valley, or somewhere in Cork or Galway or whatever it is you go spending money, and bought a pair of trousers and a shirt and a haircut and stuff? You just stopped. Everybody just stopped. My hair has like gone wild. I'm after fixing it somewhat this morning, but I may actually cut it myself now at this stage, which I will. If I cut it, I'm going to make a video, right? 100% live, says Annie McPhee. Operator, who get out soon, Bob and chat. I don't know how far back I am, because the timestamps is not turned on for some reason. 2:05, bloody hell, I'm already half an hour behind you. You lot are brilliant. 204 people watching right now, which is very good. I have been, and tomorrow morning I'll do it again, I have been doing a high intensity workout training with Joe Wicks every morning. It's live on YouTube. It's very good. It's good for your head. It's good for your brain. It's good for your innards and outards. It's just good for you. Trust me. Do it. Go get some exercise. It's vitally important you exercise. Anyway, Bob, do you think the price of a car will drop? Yes. Yes, I do. And I also think we're going to lose some dealerships, lads. And I think we're going to lose some pubs. I think some things cannot indefinitely stay closed and continue to pay rent, rates. There's so much going to happen in the next 12 months that this is going to be a very strange time that's coming at us now. Even when we get beyond restrictions, beyond being able to go out again, we're still going to have a very, very strange time ahead. In that we discovered ways, like we were sitting here with the kids the other day. We're doing Irish Folens, a website that made a company that's made books for kids, books for school books for generations. Opened their website up and gave all the parents access to it. And guess what? They were able to do that in a week. Why aren't we paying a subscription? Why do we have to have physically printed books anymore? Why aren't we just getting the PDF of a book and printing out the pages we require? We did Irish lessons and it was brilliant. Simple stuff. So why are my kids going to school every single day and having to lug home big books with them all the time? Why does it cost me that much money to do that? So the cogs are turning in everybody's head going, this doesn't make any sense. Why do I spend so much money on things that I don't need? Anyway, like even a PPE that's coming in from China, like that's just not suitable. It was made in a really, really, really short space of time and there's just not enough of it and it's not suitable. So if you take any order, and I was a purchase and supply manager for a number of years, and generally speaking, most orders stuff to come in, you would expect 1 to 8% of what just came in to be broken, not operations, especially big orders. A lot of it will be broken or some parts won't work or whatever it is. So there is an element of that, but like you don't expect that with personal protection equipment. You just don't. Not these days. Not when a 3D printer can churn it out there really quickly. But yes, in answer to your question, David Carney, the price of a car will have to drop to encourage people to go back to a showroom to buy things. It has to. We have to change how we're doing everything now at the moment. Command Mark Turner Smith, you're the winner. Yes, you can have the books and the DVDs of Clarkson and Co. and Top Gear and stuff that I've had there. There's a care package of stuff to watch. There's plenty there, no problem. The Butcher IRL, I think I'm the winner of the car in the forest. Done 3 hours of research, search and pitch on wishbones and brakes to find it. I'll contact you on Facebook because that's where I seen the answer. And I'm sure it was Peter Durmin, Durmin, Peter Durmin. If that's you, you're the winner. Well done. Congratulations. Thankfully, we're managing to keep the virus largely under control in Ireland. We're already brought the transmission rate from 40% to under 10%. That's amazing. The Irish people get behind something very quickly, very rapidly. We do it. If we believe in it, we do it to the best we can. What's after happening now is the general public have stopped transmitting the virus. Unfortunately, we have these pockets in nursing homes and hospitals which is going to cause us no end of issues, because it still could possibly mean that our systems will get overworked and overloaded over time, because the health service, the people who work in the health service get sick. That's our big problem right now. But we're doing very well in comparison to the rest of Europe, and in comparison particularly to Spain and Italy, where they're very old populations, particularly Italians, who would be very kissy, very huggy people, very touchy people. Their families go around and visit their grandparents every day. They visit each other all the time. They meet in the street. They go for a walk every evening. They go and get gelatery stuff, ice creams and things. Barry Loftus, thank you very much. You're a very generous person. Money there by PayPal. You're so kind. You're very good, lads. It's really good to know that you want to keep this Sunday service your own. It's yours. Yours to keep. I'm just a host of it, thankfully. GPO Rourke says, I was to collect my new Mazda before the lockdown, but my Mazda dealer wouldn't give it to me. Didn't want my car in his lot. Took out a loan. Bad form. Wow, that's not good. That's not good. That really isn't very good. No, didn't want your car in his lot. I mean, you've taken out the loan. You have the loan. Now, look, always in situations where you have a loan, you have a mortgage, you have rent to pay, whatever it is, if you're in trouble, get on top of that trouble. Don't let it brood in the background. Get in touch with the bank, the building society, the credit union, whatever it is, and tell them, because we're all in this, right? Everybody's in the same situation. So even the people who work in the bank owners, everybody is walking around with masks on their face and hats on and hoods on and gloves on. Everybody's in the same situation. Everybody will understand. But if you don't talk to them, they just take the money like normal, right? I noticed I paid a television license here by direct debit, and noticed the direct debit went yesterday for the TV license for RTE. So, we're still paying for RTE. Darren Fagan, have you seen videos on the new Kia Sorento? What do you think? Hope you're well and keep us safe. I'm well and fine. I was supposed to be on the launch of the Kia Sorento. Of course, it was cancelled. Looks nice, actually, in fairness. I like the back of it more than I like the front of it, but it looks like an alright car, yeah. You'd have to find it. It's very hard to say whether you like something or not till you drive it. I like the look of the Hyundai Ioniq, and then I drove it and I hated the car. So it doesn't take very much for somebody to hate a car, which I still get an awful lot of abuse about how much I hate that car. How much I'm wrong. I love the comments. You're so wrong. I bought this car. I know exactly everything there is to know about this car. You're so wrong. It's funny. I think people have forgotten what it means to have an opinion. I really do. Opinions are vital. Everybody needs to have an opinion on something, whether it be an opinion about themselves or about other things, but that opinion has to be based on fact, or it has to be based on experience. So if I handed you a mobile phone, an iPhone XS, and you had a Nokia in your hand, you think the iPhone XS is absolutely brilliant because your only experience you got is an ancient old phone. Whereas from my position, for cars, I'm in and out of cars every day, all day. It's what I do for a job. So if I don't like it, I just say I don't like it, and that's the end of it. It's the seats or whatever it is. And it's experience. So you build up enough experience to be able to form an opinion. And that's the problem with a lot of younger people coming into this. They think everything's brilliant and they don't have an opinion. They just kind of go, yeah, I like the car. It's really good. Isn't it lovely? Look at this car. Can I have a free car for a year? That's what happens. So watch those influencer types, and I'm not an influencer. Afternoon, Marty O says, afternoon, Bob and Chad. Hope everyone's safe and well. Just back from a 5k walk 2 days in a row now. Trying to get back into doing it regularly. Good man. Keep up the exercise part. It's very good for the brain. Even in the rain, the wind, the snow, whatever it is, get out, get moving, get the legs turning. It releases endorphins into your body, makes you feel good, makes you feel happy, and then you become addicted to the endorphins, and trust me, you can be addicted to worse things. But 5k, make sure you're no more than 2k from your house. And, don't worry about in the street. From what I can see, from what I understand, coronavirus does not survive in the open air, in the UV light. Someone will want to cough into your face in the open air for it to do any harm. So don't worry about breath or breathing on top of someone out in the open air. Just stay away from it. Keep that 2 meter distance, and it can't possibly happen outside. You are far safer outside than you are being cooped up inside. If you pay your gym membership monthly, it should have stopped. If it didn't stop, get in touch with the gym company and tell them you want to stop paying it, or just cancel the direct debit, because obviously the gyms are closed through no fault of yours. It's through no fault of theirs either, but you should be paying for something that's closed. JP O'Rourke says, by the way, I'd ordered a car before Christmas. That's not unusual these days. Because of just-in-time ordering, very few car companies actually make a lot of one car. So if you ordered a car today, a brand new car, and it's not a standard stock car, it could take you 6 or 8 months before you see it. The reason behind that is because if you look at the way, say Kia Ireland, right? Kia Ireland tend to do 3 cars. So the Kia Sorento will come in 3 models. You'll have a sort of an entry level, a middle spec, and a top spec model. The reason they offer those 3 models is because they can pre-order a number of those cars. So they can say, right, we're going to sell a lot of the mid-spec ones, so we're going to order 100 of those, 50 bottom range, and 10 of the top end ones. So they're stock cars. So you go into a dealership, and the dealership says, yeah, you want that in black? I have one in black. It's already started manufacturing. It'll be here in a month. Or it may be out the back of his forecourt. But you walk in and say, I want that car in orange, and I want to have active cruise control. That's outside of those 3 things. That means it has to be made from scratch for you, which makes because they do it in rotations. So take Martorell factory Seat, make the allotment for Spain, and then on a Tuesday they allot 9 hours to make Irish cars. That's it. If it's not made in that 9 hours, it's not going to come to you ever. Anthony Morrissey, thank you very much. Keep up the good work, Bob. I will try my best to keep up the good work. Running out of content, but it's okay. I do have an L200 video for you to come out probably tomorrow or Tuesday. and I have the Passat, which I'm trying to make a video of. It's quite difficult when you can't go further than 2k away and you can't be driving around with it, but I'll do my best and we make a nice little video of that Passat. Debbie McGuire, does anyone have recommendations for €1,000 car? No, don't worry about it. Very unlikely you're going to get €1,000 worth of a car for anything, anything useful for €1,000. It'll be something with a big engine, so it's going to cost you 1,200 quid a year in tax, or it'll be just falling apart. €1,000 really isn't a whole lot spent on a car. If you could increase that to 2 or 2.5, you could have a great selection of smaller cars. That would be really good for you. Bossa Dave, new Civic Type R or second-hand Alfa Romeo Giulia QV. How much money you got? Money. Alfa Romeo Giulia is the finest car. A beautiful thing to drive. Just outstandingly pretty. Probably not as lunatic to drive as the Type R, but I find the Type R very firm up to the Model 1, the brand new Model 1. Everything else has been really firm, and even the new one is fairly firm as well. Alfa Romeo Giulia I would pick out of the two for sure, because it is undoubtedly a future classic and will not lose a bit of money on you as long as you keep it in good shape and it doesn't blow up. It'll be fine. Paul B, I'd kill for a pint of Guinness now. Why don't you go to the shop and buy cans of Guinness? You know those cans with a little widget thing in them? They make nice little pints of Guinness. I mean, just chill them in the fridge, have a relax, chill out, put on a movie tonight, pour yourself a nice little can of Guinness, get a packet of Pringles or something like that. You're not banned from going to the shop. Make a list, go to the shop. Like me yesterday, wearing a yellow mask over my face and a baseball cap and going around Aldi with the wife, and she's wearing the same sort of mask. We look like thugs going in to rob the place. It's funny out in the car park and you're pulling on masks and gloves and hats and things, and then you walk into the door, you haven't got a shotgun on. It's gas. Cross 13 says, I'd be worried about Opel because they and their logistics guys are dealing with EVs for the first time. Tesla, for example, has 40 to 50 EV chargers on the dock in Zeebrugge to allow en route charging. Yeah, I've actually seen pictures of that. It's a cool sort of it's like a train. The cars come up behind each other and they can charge up as they go along. Oh, in other EV news, actually, Decathlon is open in Dublin, and it seems to have 10 charge points outside, which is 10 charge points in the IKEA car park. So it's IKEA and Decathlon shop. I don't actually know if it's open, but I've seen a video of it this morning from Decathlon Ireland. Funny enough, they used a drone over Decathlon Ireland, which that would be very close to an airport. Decathlon, I don't think you should be taking that drone up in the sky. But besides that, that's more charges up there as well. Opel and Peugeot will have trouble with this. I think this is going to cause them logistical problems. Some of those courses were on the way here already. The 208 was on the way here already and was sent back to the factory. I have fairly reliable information that they were sent back to the factory fairly quickly as well. Something was wrong with them. Don't know what that was, but it seems to be cured again, and now they're on the way back again. So we see what happens with Opel, but I'd be very nervous of Opel at the moment because Opel was bought by Peugeot. They're under the yoke and chain of the Peugeot Citroen Alliance. Kind of see where they're going to go with that one, alright, yeah. David Carney, watch the Gentleman Guy Ritchie movie, very funny. Is it? I haven't seen that one. There's another one to add to the list. There's another one to add to the list, Catherine. That's my wife. We're having a list of movies we haven't seen. I'm looking forward to the Ford versus Ferrari one, funny enough. I got good reports about it, or at least Alex Guy said it was good, and I kind of trust his judgment on movies, as does Neil Briscoe. He's pretty good at judging on movies as well. But I'll have a watch that, Gentleman Guy Ritchie. Dave Hall says, hi Bob, barbecue on. Barbecue? You're having a barbecue? Out in the backyard? If you're in the backyard, I could drop round like. You just stand over there, you could throw pork chops at me. Irish Foxhound, 2 Nights Stand on Netflix. It's a great rom-com film. Really, I didn't used to like rom-coms, but I think they're kind of funny now. Some of them are good. Some of the older ones are good, and that's for sure. Flavinite Disciple has come back. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, the Flavinite Disciple. Dave Hall, very hot in North London. Is it very hot in North London? Well, send some of the heat back this way, will you, please? It'd be really good if you did. Let me just see now. I'm just checking, make sure we're okay. We're all right. Yeah, I'm just checking my mobile to make sure everything's still running as normal. That's my dramatic sound for emails. John Coleman, Great show, Bob. Thank you very much, John Coleman. One of the most reliable patrons of this account, or patrons of this account. You're brilliant. Thank you very much. Twitter is a very tense place at the moment. People I know who have gotten very upset there. Very uptight. It's a very uptight place. People are very worried. I think it's coming out. It's coming out through the pores of them on Twitter, which is kind of funny to see. Just how uptight everybody can get. It got so uptight that Chris Harris blocked me. Did you know that? Chris Harris has me blocked on Twitter. I don't know. I don't actually know why. He just has. Maybe he just blocked everybody. But somebody linked a thing to Chris Harris the other night, and when I clicked it, it said Chris Harris has blocked you. So Chris Harris blocked me. That's like his claim to fame. I'm followed by hugely famous people on Twitter, but it's never done me any good whatsoever. I don't even remember tweeting Chris Harris at any point. Don't know. Chris Harris was here in the chat here a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was him. He took a dislike to me. Niall McHugh says, I saw Ford versus Ferrari in the cinema. The noise is fantastic. Yeah, I have the Blu-ray of it here, so I'm going to put that on, hopefully with a nice sound as well. I don't have surround speakers around, but it does make a difference on the sound. The audio of a video always makes a big difference. Mike Burke, I also ordered my new car just before. Oh no, actually I didn't. I don't have any money. Same as me. I ain't got no money. If car companies didn't give me cars, I wouldn't have a car. No, I would have a car. I'd have a 14-year-old Seat Leon. Alan Thomas, hey Bob, good man. Anthony Love is all in capitals. You must be shouting that from the rooftop. Skoda Octavia Mark III or Skoda Yeti. Town car use mostly would do the 1.4 TSI would be the pick of the engines, as I do enjoy trips onto the weekends. If you're a sort of an adventurous, I mean, if you want to go down to the forest on the weekends, you have dirty, muddy boots, and you have maybe a bike or something to put on the roof. Either of those two cars are good, but the Yeti has a little bit of something about it that gives it a bit of style and class. They should never get rid of it. It's finished now, which means you're going to have a car that will have a high desire factor that people will want in a few years' time because there's none of them left. So it's worth a shot on the Yeti stuff, but either of those two cars will be absolutely lovely. No bother with them. Robert Doyle, what's your opinions on Nissan Almera? We got rid of a 2004 one of 5 to 6 years ago, 3-box saloon. I'd burn it, really, and claim the insurance. That's what I do with Nissan Almera, pretty much. Drizzle would be what Nissan Drizzle is basically what those kind of Nissans. Now, they filled a particular part of the market that made a lot of sense. 3-box saloons still offer great value, but back then they were bland, kind of cheapish plastic. They weren't designed to keep you occupied. They weren't designed for us petrol heads. They were designed to get people from A to B to work. They were designed to be able to put a bale of hay in the boot. That's what they were for. Now, me, if I was stuck with one, I suppose an Almera would be probably the better one of the lot to be stuck with, because at least it's roomy. You'll fit 4 people, 5 people in. You get some stuff in the boot, and the engine's going to be relatively reliable. But other than that, it's a car I would literally burn and claim the insurance. Would be much easier. Richard Cullen, thank you very much. Richard Cullen's donated money there by super chat using a sort of, is that a poo emoji or what is that? No, it's not. It's a thank you emoji. That's a weird little emoji. It's lovely. Thank you very much. Brian O'Donnell says, hi Bob and gang, hope all is going well. It is all going brilliantly, swimmingly today. Irish Runner, do you think car companies will have good offers after all this? They will have to. Dealerships, lads, really, I would fear for the future of a lot of the bigger dealerships. You can imagine as a dealership, you invest, think about how many millions it costs to build those big glass places. And then how much millions of stock you have to run it, right? And keep it open. And then somebody goes, it's closed. Good day, finished. We have to close it down. That still costs money. Rates, rent, insurance, these things still all have to be paid every single month. And then wages. Like, I know the government are picking up some of the bill of wages, but the wages are still there. So you still got to deal with that sort of stuff, you know. Mark Turner Smith says, back to work Monday, medical devices technician, Southwestern Ambulances Service, after 6 weeks away. After my lipoma tumour removal. I remember that, we were talking about that before. Be good to be back, but also dreading it too. Stress. Well, it's going to be stress at the moment for sure. Niall McHugh, video idea. What makes a car a future classic? That's a good one, actually. We could probably do something with that. That's a good idea. I could probably gather footage all over the place for that one as well. Paddy Common is here. Paddy Common is right. Paddy Common is the marketing manager for Volkswagen, just in case you're wondering. And multiple other things. Also was a good running buddy of mine when we used to do the run gear together. And is here in the chat and has the right icon too, so it might actually be him, might not be the imposter type person who turns up here once in a while and does something else. Marty O, did you fix the dishwasher yet? No, it's sitting over there empty. We have I'm the dishwasher, my wife's the dishwasher, the kids are dishwashing, so we're doing it that way. It's very good for the environment, but it is a pain in the butt not being able to just fill up the dishwasher, turn it on and leave it at that. No, I haven't fixed it. The problem is, like, you could buy a new dishwasher for maybe €200, €250, something like that. You could spend that on parts and still not fix that thing, right? You know, I could pull everything out from inside it and find out none of those things is something else. So it tripped the switch here one day when it went off. So I don't know what the hell that means. Footy Ferrari, did anything even come with the Viva podcast? It did. That came out, as far as I know. I'm not a customer of Viva, so it would have only come as an Aviva podcast. The video is being shot next week. We're having a weird way of shooting that. They're going to stream. How do I even explain this? I'm going to film the video for Aviva next week, but they're going to join me by Skype so they can watch the shot list being filmed. It's very complicated. Filming by distance is really complicated. See, there's always a way to fix something. That's the way to fix it, is to find ways of doing something. So it's always there. Mini eggs. Is the VW DCC worth it as a comfort mode noticeably softer? Yes, it is. VW tend to make cars that are relatively firm, because they like high speed. Autobahn is very important to the Germans. This ability to be able to cross the country very quickly. Even though there isn't many straights left in the Autobahn that is actually unlimited speed now, most of them have some sort of restrictions on them. But it's still, that's where they test their cars, where they hone their cars. So they tend to make slightly firmer suspension than some of the French cars make. So if you get the adaptive kind of suspension systems or any of that sort of stuff, you can adjust them, you'll feel a difference in Ireland for sure. A big factor of suspension is tyres, by the way. If your tyres are very thin, you're going to have hard suspension no matter what you do. So be very cautious of getting very thin tyres. They can look brilliant, but it makes the ride very hard. Alan Montgomery, hi Bob. What happened to you going live every day last week? I couldn't do it, just couldn't do it. So much other stuff that we're trying to get done around the house here while we're off. It was just impossible to be able to sit down and do it. We did the Sega Mega Drive yoke for the crack. I'm going to do another one of gaming as well from upstairs on the PC. I'm downloading stuff on it right now. It's an old PC, so I'm going to have to film it rather than do that. But it's a matter of just figuring out how to go live on other stuff rather than just go live me sitting here at the kitchen table trying to drink coffee and talk. Missed you, man. Your vids are so welcome during the lockdown. Love the Sega Mega Drive. Keep it up. No problem. The Sega Mega Drive was fun actually, because Sophie was in it and we could do a bit of a laugh as well. So we'll do something as well on the PC thing upstairs on my new sort of, not office, but a new space that I can be in and occupy and make my own, a den, so to speak, sort of man area. You know what I mean. Men know what I'm talking about. That man area where you can think and do stuff and don't have to report to anybody or listen to anyone. It's great. Darren Fagan, have you seen videos on the new Kia Sorento? What do you think? Did I answer already? Yeah, I did see the new Kia Sorento. Looks good. Looks alright. I'll never really form an opinion until I drive something. You know, reveals and stuff only tell you so much, but at least you can sit in a bloody car when you go along to a reveal. You can sit inside it and feel and touch things. You know, so it's pretty hard to do that unless you've driven the car. So the Kia Sorento launch will happen eventually. So will the Octavia launch. They will happen. They may not happen the way they were supposed to happen, but they will still happen. The Butcher IRL is the winner. There's the winner. The winner has landed. He's here in the comments. There you are now. By the way, I'm over half an hour behind you. I'm sorry. In questions wise, so I'm answering questions from 2:18 p.m. That cold is not coronavirus, by the way. A snotty nose is not a symptom. And if I cough, I'm okay. I'm alright. I was listening to kind of radio the other day and he went, that's not coronavirus. It's funny. Jonathan Kelly, complete lockdown of the Isle of Man. Nobody allowed to fly to the island, only the ferry bringing in food supplies. 40 mile an hour speed limit on you. 40 mile an hour on the Isle of Man for a place that hasn't got a bloody speed limit. Imagine that. Damien Dunn, thank you very much. Hi Bob, great Sunday service. Thank you very much, you're very kind. Brian Crowley, you're very generous, Brian. Thank you very much. That's a huge donation. Thank you. They have come in by PayPal. The list of links are down below. Most important that you subscribe. Don't make any donations unless you can afford them. Okay? Nothing. Just subscribe and click the little bell thing, and that'll do you fine. You be grand. Honest truth. 40 mile an hour speed limit. Still trying to get over that now, because the Isle of Man has no speed limits. Well, I know it technically has no speed limits. Hi Bob, how are you doing? Neil from York checking in, says honest truth. I like honest truth. Honest truth is brutal sometimes, but it does happen. Where were we now? Alan Thomas says the PPE for the hospitals is a really big mess up. My mum's a nurse, and she said that the Chinese gowns only come halfway down your arm. That's what the biggest one was. Some of the face masks don't fit. They're not the best quality. Don't forget, the Irish government did promise €280 million to the Chinese to deliver PPE equipment, and now most of it is wrecked. Any good purchase manager, anyone in the purchase chain would have sat down and looked at who is supplying what and how fast they can do it, what's the offers you're going to get, where can you get, can you get a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit from someone else, can you get some, that's how a purchase manager thinks. They're looking for a deal, they're looking for the job lot, but they want to fulfill the quality and make sure that everything's good and the way it should be. So I think a knee-jerk reaction from the HSC when they realised they just didn't have enough PPE equipment. Despite all their promises, they just did not have enough of it, and now we have over 1,000 people in healthcare workers that are infected and now can no longer work. I'm not saying because they're too sick, because they can spread the infection, and so now we have PPE equipment that's just not good enough. Where do you go with that? Like, all that money's gone. That stuff, you never get that back to the Chinese. The Chinese are very strange. I know there's a number of people who follow me on Twitter who are people who live in China, and I've talked to them at length. Chinese manufacturing, for me and as a purchase manager as well, as used to happen, you talk to them and they go, yeah, we'll give you everything you ever wanted. But when it actually comes to manufacturing, they don't. They'll just churn it out. They don't care. It's irrelevant. As long as they get it sold, they don't care what condition it is. John Carney says, is mad. Eric Rochford, you're talking to one another. I will not interfere there. Richard Cullen says, happy Sunday, Bob. Paddy Common is talking to John. No. Go back up. If anyone's ever done a live chat, you'll know that what happens is you scroll to the bottom and then it goes brunk and zooms all the way up to the very bottom of everything, and you miss all the questions in between. So scroll back up and get them. Cross 13 says Tesla is still delivering with low contact deliveries. They delivered 146 Model 3s in Dublin last month. I actually saw them being offloaded up in Dublin. They were very good. I met everybody from Tesla. They're such nice people. And they really did make a gigantic effort to deliver the cars to people without getting any closer to them than 2 meters, and disinfecting the cars and wiping down everything. It was very, very well done how they did it. So they really did minimise their content and still make the deliveries come true. A lot of people waiting on Model 3s. A lot of Model 3s sold in Ireland. You'll see that the dynamic of car sales will slightly alter when more people enter the market, more people at that level. So what I mean is at Tesla level. Right now, Tesla is the only company who has the package sorted. The ability to be able to go anywhere in the country, be close to a charge point, charge up at fast chargers. They just have it nailed to make life very easy. Once Volkswagen get up and running, Seat, Skoda, Audi, Mercedes, once all those enter the market and do their own thing, we'll see the fight will really start there. But we'll see. Eric Watcher says, ads always play at the start of the Sunday service. I did not know that, because I've never watched my own Sunday service live. Obviously, it would be very boring if I was to watch myself live. David Carney says, hi Bob, Taxi Dave here. Do you think the price of cars will go down in the future? Everybody's asked that same question. Yes, they will, for sure. Now, discounts will become bigger. I'd say some of it through finance. Be very careful watch my finance video, please, before you take out any finance. Be very careful getting into a PCP agreement. Be very careful what you're doing about finance in general, because we don't know where we're going to be in 3 years. We don't know what's going to happen in 3 years' time. We don't know if we're going to get another one of these pandemics across the country, across the world, and do it all again. So this could be a whole other ball game into the future. But right now, I reckon the car companies will try to figure out ways of attracting you back into showrooms with offers and deals, service costs, upgrading the packs inside the cars that are there, trying to get them off the market. There will be offers for sure. Debbie McGuire says, hi Bob, my Fiat 500 is in the dealership as confirmed by the salesperson, and I even saw it in the car lot, same colour and spec, but they can't give it to me because of COVID-19. Dealers in liquidation now. That could be a problem. Have you got finance on that car? I've already done my bank transfer of 18,000 to the company that is now in liquidation. Have I lost it? That would be a tricky one. You would have to contact the bank as soon as they possibly. Banks are well open, so the banks are ready for you. Contact the bank, inform them what's after going wrong at the company's in liquidation. The deposit has been paid and the bank transfer has happened. You will be in, as liquidators will come in and they will pay out the debts. The people who will be paid first are the suppliers, and then other things will happen between here and there. Maybe you would have to make a claim against the liquidators. Find out who the liquidators are, get in touch with them, explain the situation, show them the credit transfer, and talk to your bank for sure about that sort of deal. But that's not a criminal thing that's after happening to you. It's just after happening to you. It's an unfortunate offset. We're in the weirdest time in history that we've ever possibly had. Robert Dodd says, right lads, new hashtag pray for Father Flav. There you go. Father Flav, I love it. Sunday service. I'm still waiting for the people to turn up to start praying at me. I noticed that the Pope came out the other night to mention that we all need to get together and pray, and basically nobody turned up, which was kind of funny. Well, nobody I knew turned up anyway. Irish Foxhound, Bob Freedom Wallace. Yeah, I was. I shouted that. I shout that in the movie. I'm in the movie doing that. Somebody had to leave a message. Hello, Bob. Hello, everybody. Says Daz. Mission Nomadic. Glad I don't work as a service advisor for the only Volvo dealer in Cornwall anymore. It's going to be a nightmare when the garage is reopened. Don't miss it one bit. Yeah, that's unfortunately there's going to be a massive backlog of service, of cars, of dealerships not being able to open up. I mean, what happens if during this pandemic time somebody doesn't come back to work for you? What happens if the dealership just can't afford to reopen? What if they liquidate during this time because they just can't do it any other way? This is the major problem we have right now. This is a business problem. And while I think we have to look after each other, I think business will eventually find its own level again, and we need to be aware that that's what's going to happen next. The business will alter, business will change. People will be more inclined to buy things online. Having a physical business is changing anyway. It was changing all along. Tesla buying cars. Tesla started the thing of ordering online, not having a showroom, even though they did open certain showrooms, service departments and showrooms and stuff. I think they call them experience centers or something. Volkswagen did something similar recently. You could order the Model, not the Model 3, the ID3 online as ID4 as well. You could pay your deposit and do it all online and be delivered to a showroom near you. So, like, everybody's kind of shifting. That there's a small shift happened that way, which has now been forced to happen that way. The things that have been useless to us in this crisis has been things like local authorities, like the local council, the local town council. They're useless. They're at home. They're stuck at home like everybody else, getting paid. The stock market, anything in the stock market, useless to you. Multi-billionaires, useless. None of these people are any good to us. People who are high use to us are bin men. People who work in Lidl and Aldi and Super Value and Tesco's and Dunn stores. They're useful people, and they get the least amount of wages. So we need to shift who we look after and how much money we spend on things. Irish Runner says, did you review a Model 3? Yes, there is a video up online. I had another Model 3 booked in with Tesla, but that time has passed, so I'll have to rebook it again later on in the year. If we ever get back to any sort of even remote normality of the future, I will book it in again in the year. The next priority is to make a video of the Passat estate outside. One of the best cars I've driven this year. It's just ticks every single box. All of it. Just a gorgeous thing to drive, and has wireless Apple CarPlay that actually works. It works every time as well. I meant digitizing your audio cassettes with Audacity. I did that. I started doing that, and I will finish it. You have to play at normal speed, which is kind of weird. In my brain, I thought we could play at double the speed. it would record it or something. But no, you have to listen to the whole album and turn it over and play it again. So I did. I got the audio bits done, but not the videos. No. Storm, Mr. Storm, do you think there will be a cashless society? No, there won't. Cashless is dangerous because you give not just some of your rights to the bank, but all of your rights to the bank. All of it. Nothing. You have nothing if you have cashless. It's very dangerous because if anything happens to the bank, anybody makes a mistake someday and just turns off your account and your bank is empty. What do? Like, where do you go from there? Nothing. You can do nothing. What if in this pandemic all the ATMs were out of service and everything just went wrong? You know, banks closed and you couldn't transfer money and maybe the machines go down and communications cease. What happens? You have to have cash. Cash is a thing. You can restrict the amount of it. Like you can't leave the country with more than 10,000 euros in your pocket or something. There's signs in airports. You see them all the time. So you can restrict its use, but you cannot get rid of it entirely. The only people who want to get rid of it entirely are banks because it's a pain in the ass to deal with cash for them. So I don't think cashless is coming. And if you feel it coming, if that's another freedom that's going to be taken away from you, you should rebel against it every time. I'm a very free thinking person, by the way. If you tell me I'm not allowed to do something, I always question why, what's safety, what's really safe. There's a lot of laws coming in right now that have sunset clauses on them that restrict my movements, and I can be told to go home and I can be arrested if I don't. Like, think about that. Forget about pandemics. Just think about if that law stayed. What would happen next? Dermot Walsh is here. I'm answering the question. I'm still only about a half an hour behind you. I'm okay. Alan Burke, I don't want cashless. All transactions will be logged. I don't want cashless. All transactions will be logged. That is correct. Every single transaction you do will be logged. Whether it's Revolut, N29, your local bank, your billing society, credit unions, whatever it is, that's all logged in some way or other. And if something goes wrong in that, you know, you can be spending money you don't even have when you have a cashless society. A lot of people run their bank account down to zero every single month. And then a bill comes in like my dishwasher and suddenly you're in the red for 300 quid, 400 quid to get it fixed, whatever it costs. So like you got to be aware of how much you have. If you know and you're understanding money, you can make it work for you. But without cash, without just having a couple of quid in your pocket, it's a very dangerous place to be. What happens if this is John Shaw, what happens if my 320 diesel BMW burns with a bad EGR recall? I can't get it fixed at the minute. You can't. Now, BMW have not come out and said that they're extending their warranties beyond their limit. So whatever the warranty was at, they didn't say they were going to extend it. I wouldn't go anywhere with a bad EGR. That recall stuff, that has to be done. You're going to have to get that done. You're going to have to get in contact with the local dealership and ask them what they're going to do about it. What can they do about it? Because it's doing harm and it's a recall. Now, the thing is, it's not your fault that has happened. This is not down to you. You know, it's a recall system and you've obeyed the recall at the right amount of time. But that doesn't mean you can, if they've been advised to not drive the car any further, you've been told not to park it and leave it alone, then unfortunately that's what you're going to have to do. So do your best. That's all I can say is to keep in touch with everybody and try not to drive it as much as you can. Debbie McGuire says, we've already lost a Fiat dealership. I learned the hard way. That won't be the last one. Fiat. Now look, the ones at the bottom end of the market, the ones on the very bottom, like off the end of the top 20 sales, people who are shifting 8 or 9 cars a year, they're probably not going to survive this too well. And that's not, I'm not speaking out of turn there. I couldn't be. There's no way you can survive selling 10 or 15 cars a year total in this country and now be shut down for 3, 4, 5 weeks and then have 5 or 6 weeks of winding back up again to try and get back up to normal speed, get your deliveries moving, get people coming into dealerships. A lot of people don't want to go back to work. I see a lot of people talking about that they can work from home just as well. A lot of bosses are out there going, why am I paying rates on an office with 5 seats or 6 seats in it? Why am I paying rates and phones and lights and heat and all this stuff? And when I'm just as productive with all of my staff sitting at home, we have a meeting on Skype or on Zoom. I know Zoom is riddled with holes, but they'll fix all that. That's what's happening right now. Debbie McGuire says, actually, Bob Folens have always had that facility. Nobody told us though. The problem is we just left it all to the dealership. We're only discovering this, or we left it all to the teachers. We're only discovering these things, and in that discovery, it's changing how we're dealing with the kids at home, how we're doing things at home. Cross 13 says, USIT, the student travel agency, much of Ireland has fond memories of went into liquidation this week. That's unfortunate. Yeah, USIT, everybody, I think, in Ireland did a USIT trip at some point or another. I remember doing a Trail Finders trip as well as another Irish company that works up in Dublin there. But yeah, USIT's gone. That's another one that's gone. USIT have only been really treading water for years, and some of the companies that are going to liquidation right now or finishing up right now were nearly finished anyway. There's an element of them coming to an end. This has just been like the full stop, the kind of point of just going, well, look, we have to close anyway. Why don't we use this point to wind ourselves right the way down? So that's happening. Paddy Common asks how the Passat is. It's absolutely gorgeous. The black wheels on the blue make it look much better than you think a Passat should look. It's probably my favourite car this year, just to kind of be there. It's there and it's easy to use. It's got all the shopping bag hooks. It's got all the useful stuff. No spare wheel, funny enough, but that's quite normal these days. Still normal for most of them. Daza says, Debbie McGuire, don't worry, I'm sure Fiat will have to refund you when things settle down. I'd say they will. I'd say they will have to, if nothing else. Dorn Ní Shanloch, an Irish name. Hi Bob, would you pay off a PCP on a 191 Arona car or keep paying it? I take it you're coming to 191, so you're in 192 2020, so you're moving into so at the end, right, when you're going back with your SEAT at the end of 3 years, you have to keep paying for 3 years, right? You have the three choices on the PCP, so you can keep the car, pay the balance, it becomes yours. You can drive home in that car, it's yours forever. Now, how you pay that balance is up to you. So you can refinance that bit. You can go to your own bank and get a finance loan out and give that to SEAT, and then you pay the bank the finance on the remainder of the loan. You can pay for it out of cash. You walk in with cash and have it. Now, another choice you have is just hand the car back at that point. So at the end of 3 years, just give them the keys and you walk away. As long as they agree to the whole term, it terminates your finance arrangement with them and it has no effect on your history. So you've paid off the debt in total. Now, the third choice, of course, is you swap out the car. You pay the rest of the finance off and then you refinance for a new PCP. So that's another alternative as well. It's the third one. I would, given it's a 191, it's a good little car. If you're not looking to change cars, I'd pay it off and keep the car until it falls asunder. Sure, what's going to happen to it? It's a 191. 5, 6, 10 years from now, buy an electric car. 8 years from now, buy an electric car. And there you're all done. Because 8 or 9 years from now, we might have some sort of hydrogen alternative, or there might be another fuel we've investigated, or whatever it is, and something else come along to make it all very exciting. So I'd pay it off. No harm in staying with SEAT. SEAT has some lovely cars. You can keep it with SEAT and turn it over into another Arona, turn it over into something bigger if you want to go that direction. Alan Burke, will we need to buy gold before the banks tank? The banks won't tank. The banks have been through this before. In 2008, the world crashed. And I know this is a different crash. We are now having an unemployment spike like we've never seen before. But I do believe this unemployment spike is going to be short term. I think the vast majority of people who run these businesses, run these banks, have been through that 2008 and understand how it works. So I don't foresee that this is going to last a long time. I do foresee that the world will change how we do business and how things happen and how we hold meetings, and lots of stuff is going to come out of this. Lots of new things will come out of this. Lots of new ways of operation. But I don't think that banks are going to tank on this one. I think we're going to remain pretty much static as we were. Ireland currently owns TSB and Bank of Ireland. Technically, we kind of own them. The taxpayers bail them out to a huge degree. The rest of the banks, yeah, we own bits of them, but we don't own all of them. So there is an element that we could do something because we own them. We'll have to see what that turns out to be. But who knows? We've never done this before. So this is all in our minds as to how this is going to work out. But I don't foresee the banks are going to foreclose or fall apart or be turned into something else. Banks are just banks. They have to fund everything. Daza says, Hyundai Ioniq looks terrible. Why would you pay big money for that? The current model, I don't like it at all. The first generation was a great car. Brilliant. The very first one was Ioniq that came out. It was a country crossing electric car. It was very simple. Didn't look like an electric car. Didn't really drive. It drove well. It had a nice gearbox, as automatics goes, an electric car goes. It had a nice way of dealing with power. Good response. Nice drive. The current one is just boring on wheels. Drizzle. A car for the sake of being a car. They've done nothing with it, really. Irish Foxhound. For some reason, in the last minute, the audio sync delay has reduced to less than a second. Don't know. OBS is the weirdest thing. I don't know if it's OBS or it's YouTube, or it's a mix of the two of them together. I'm going to investigate other ways of doing it other than OBS, or maybe other computers, other machines, the way the connection works, or something has gone awry somewhere. I reinstalled this laptop recently with a brand new SSD drive, so I've actually changed some of the settings as well, maybe somewhere. It could be my fault. I'm not good at that. I want things when I install them that they work. I don't have to do anything about it. Just go click, bang, done, and it all happens. That's the way I like things to happen. So I'll have it sorted by next Sunday, be fine. ST says, what do you think will follow on the new car market? Bargains, 0% offers, lack of new cars. What I would suggest would be 0% finance very quickly. Volkswagen run their own bank and we're very good at doing 0% finance. Now, don't remember, Volkswagen are spending 2 billion a week on staying closed, right? So that's a lot of money to be going out. But it doesn't mean that they're going to go out of business or anything's going to happen. I think we're going to be okay on that front. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, car company in the world. It's not going to be in that much trouble. Ford would be the one I'd be very frightened of at the moment. They were retooling and spending a fortune doing it. They cut jobs left, right and centre, and then they were going to retool the entire thing. They were going to spend a fortune on it, and now they've just gone silent. So it's just gone quiet now. It's going to be an odd few months. Who knows where all this is going to land? I think we need to just write off the rest of 2020 and come back in 21. That's my feeling on it now. We should all kind of gear up for Christmas. That's what we should do next. To just get together and think, what are we going to do for Christmas? And we'll just forget about the summer bit and go back to school in September. Forget about all that. It's not going to happen. Paul O'Connor says he's testing. That's good. Testing. 1, 2, 3. ST, what do you think? Oh no, I had that one. John McAlinden. What about paying for private healthcare, which is presently closed for business? Well, I don't. For two reasons. One, I can't afford it. And because there's 4 of us in the family, it would cost a fortune to have us. Two, we are really healthy people. The 4 of us. I don't really get sick, or I have no underlying illnesses. Neither does my wife or the kids. We don't have any reason to be going to GPs or doctors or anything like that. And 3, currently in this country, like my wife had an appendicitis last year. That cost us €270, I think, to get that done. That was an emergency surgery. It was 3 days in hospital, and recovery systems afterwards. And she came home, she was fine, keyhole surgery, and it was 270 quid. Why would I pay health insurance thousands so I wouldn't have to pay 270 quid? So we don't pay health insurance. Cut anything off that doesn't make any sense to you. Why are you paying health insurance? Do you have if you have cancer, right, or you have something that's getting treated over time, then there's a reason for health insurance, because the bills can be astronomical and break you. But there is a limit to what they can charge in Ireland. Paul O'Connor says testing. John McAlinden says €15. What's that mean? What's €15? Operator Hoos got an electric scooter. Good man. Electric scooters are great crack. That Say It one I had here was really good fun. The kids love that. They're a bit pricey, but they're very good. Now, I do see idiots riding them up and down footpaths and all over the place at full speed. And there is an element of, when you're passing through Dublin and you're going through one of the busiest roundabouts in the country and you see a little lad on a scooter going trying his best to go beyond the 11 or 15 kilometers an hour that it goes. It's just like, get a grip, get a bike or something, David McGuire, Bob, some people have just lost 18 grand, so can't afford anything more than €1,000. That would be, I'm lost as to what that was now. Saw a Facebook video of pouring a perfect pint from a can. I can pour a perfect pint from a can, no bother. Now, There is slightly less in a can than there is in a pint glass when you go to a pub. Pint glass is a little bit bigger because I actually have two glasses here. One is a pint glass and the other one is a pint glass that I got in a gift box of Guinness. That one isn't a pint, it's slightly less. So the cans fill that one nicely, but they don't fill a pint glass to the absolute top. As long as you're not getting out Bishop's collar on it, you'll be fine. Guinness is nice. Not good for you, but it's nice. I was nearly said good for you. Tommy, you're a very nice man. Tommy just donated some money there by Super Chat. Paul O'Connor, I wonder about the quality of cars new and used. New ones already made will be standing in fields for ages. The quality could be crap for a while. That'll all be checked. Realistically, most of these cars are sealed underneath these days. It's not like the old days where a car, a Vauxhall Viva or something stuck into a field in a week, you got tin worm up the side of it, right? That was quite normal. But the newer cars are sealed underneath. They're made. If you've ever been to a car factory, I strongly suggest if you ever get the chance to go into a car factory and do the tour, do it, right? Because it's an eye-opener to see the cars. You know, the bodies of the car go over your head and go in through sealed rooms and engine rooms and places where they start the engines and lower the engines. Very itchy nose today. Be careful. That means a row or something. But for a while, standing in the field is not too bad. If the field has this hard surface underneath, it'll be okay. The cars that'll be cleaned up. But standing in a mucky field now is a whole different ballgame. That's where rust starts. Standing in water. Tony O'Sullivan says, why is it cheaper to buy a car up north in the UK? They're robbing feckers down south. It's not robbing, but I agree with you. The problem is we have a thing called VRT, and I have long since rallied against this whole tax. The government will never get rid of it, or if they do, they'll replace it with something else. But it does distort the price of our cars in the Republic. Because that is a vehicle registration tax, and they don't have that in the UK. They have VAT. So a €20,000 car in sterling, you convert that to euro. That's not the price of the car in euro. Okay, but then if you go down to Spain and you see the price of Seat Leon, it says 16 grand. It starts here at 20 grand. There's a big difference there too, you know. So it's not just the UK. It's actually a Europe-wide thing. It's an Irish thing. It was an Irish solution. Bertie Ahern brought it in, VRT, way back when, as a block exemption to stop people buying English cars. It didn't work, but then it stayed as a lovely tax on everybody. William Bellingham Bob, say hi to Ryan. Hi Ryan, how are you, Ryan? You okay? Hopefully it's a nice Sunday wherever you are, because it's not here. It's raining here, it's windy, it's kind of drizzly. Good stretch in the evenings though with the hour change, isn't it? Rufina Gibney, is that a female name, Rufina? I've never heard of them before. Keep driving past dealer to look at my Kia Soul EV, which I can't get my hands on. Torture. Oh yeah, I feel it. I know what you mean, especially when it's not just a new car, but it's a whole new model on the market as well. Like it's not just like you're buying a Ford Focus or something where there's loads of other Ford Focus. There's no other Soul EVs. It's just that one. It's just come out. Great car. It's worth waiting for. You'll have a whale of a time driving around the place. First 2 weeks, you will pour electricity into it because you won't be able to get out of it. That's what happens. That's the same for me. You buy a brand new car, and the very first thing you do is put 1,000 kilometres on it straight away. Irish Foxhound said, I just shared the can of Guinness pour to the Sunday Service Facebook page. See, now we're all going to have to go and buy Guinness, right? So right now, Aldi is stocking up crates of Guinness. So you're all going to have to go and buy some cans of Guinness in a Aldi or Lidl or Tesco's or Dunn's or Super Value, wherever it is. Shop local, wherever it is. Stay within 2 kilometres of your house. Mark Turner Smith, very strange sight and unreal at Bournemouth International Airport currently. British Airways using the airport as storage for what must be short haul fleet. 737, few 747s too, about 30 aircraft. A lot of aircraft aren't in the sky. Simple as that. You look at a flight radar right now. Very little flying about the place. Very little landing and taking off. They got to store them somewhere, and it is surreal to watch planes land. And at the moment, like if there was a Ryanair flight leaving here today and I wanted to be on it, I really wouldn't think I want to be on that. I really wouldn't think I want to go to an airport now with this pandemic. It's changing everything. It changes everything right now. Cross says, the Decathlon was supposed to open this month, alright. They have a great folding electric bike, the Tilt 500 for less than €900. Well inside the bike to work scheme. Really? Must check that one out. I'm still into that bike thing. I want to get back cycling, but the weather's been weird and I can't go more than 2 kilometres from home now, so Dermot Watts says 281 watching and only 69 likes. Hit the button. Hit the like button. 94 likes currently at the moment. 277 people watching. It'll be another good week in it. In fairness, the Sunday service has grown to such a wild animal of a thing now. Between the podcast, which was number 21 or 2 or something in the podcast charts last week, and currently today we've already had a couple of thousand downloads, so it's okay, it's done. So I'm quite. It's weird how it's grown. It's weird how I was told at the beginning this could never work. Why would you even want to have a 2-hour live stream on YouTube? What was the point behind it? I've always tried to do like a radio show. I've always tried to make it work that way, and it's worked out. It's nice. It gives us a place to hang out and do what we want to do and chat and talk. And now there's 107 likes, so it's flying along, and people say, why do you keep begging for money and asking for subscribers? So because when you ask, people do it. When you say click the like button, people click the bleeding like button. And it's the same applies to subscribe and stuff. Hit the subscribe button. It's very good for you. It's great for your health. Makes you feel better. Gives you a little rush of blood to the head as well, which is really nice. As that rush of blood to the head from Barry Hughes was very appropriate at that moment. Thank you very much, Barry Hughes. You're very kind. Annie McAfee is answering some of these questions. Mark Turner Smith says, missed the 80s, 90s VW Mark II Jetta GTIs despite the dull image 3-box saloons. Some of the duller cars of the world had the best performance. Like, they were really brilliant fun to drive. But if you actually stand back and look at the thing, they're often very boring. Some of the Volvos were amazing yokes to drive, like lunatics, but looked pretty standard, So often, never really judge a book by its cover in that respect, because some of those cars have engines underneath them that are indestructible and will keep on going forever. So those older ones, like the 90s, 80s, 90s, Mark II Jettas and even some of the Golfs from back then would have been amazing yokes to drive, but just look fairly basic. Robert Doyle says, in capital letters, would you mind? Hit the like button if you haven't already. Thanks very much. Annie McAfee says, top marks on changing the calendar unprompted this month. Bob's having class pick this time. I don't change that. I'll let you in secret. The wife changes that one. Actually, what is it? Oh, yeah, Stormtrooper. That's actually a pretty good Stormtrooper picture. I like that one. Because he's got a bit of a, it's not just your average little Stormtrooper. This guy looks like he's got a bit of attitude. Footy Ferrari says, what's the best way to get free footage to use for your YouTube video, Bob? If it's car related, you can get it from most of the car media websites. So if you type in Skoda Media or Volkswagen Media, it'll bring you to the media website. You can go and get video footage off them. Sometimes you have to register, so you have to tell them where you're going to use it. But other than that, it's very hard to get free video footage from anybody who's not selling something. So you can get things off like there's stock footage you can purchase and use. You can buy it, but you have to buy it. I'm with Artlist for music, so I do pay for Artlist every year to be able to use their music, because I just had too many copyright things. You'd get some guy tell you the video's free. Oh, it's free, you can use it. Oh, no problem at all. 6 months time you get a copyright infringement notice on it because someone else used it as well, and they're holding the copyright. Just a pain in the ass. So I pay for Artlist to do that. Artlist do stock footage as well. But if you want free stuff and if it's car related, look at the website belonging to most of the car companies. They allow you to download and use the footage as you please, which is what I'll do for some of the future stuff. But classic footage, so old footage of like Le Mans racing or whatever, you're going to have to upload it to YouTube and let it tell you what the restrictions are. You've been awful pain. It happened to me with the James Bond yoke as well. Uploaded James Bond thing, sent it for a review, waited a month, it came back, they said they owned it, the rights to it. I couldn't dispute it any further, so now WMG owned the rights to the Volkswagen, or to the James Bond one, so that can't be monetized. You can all watch it, just won't be monetized. So you make nothing. You can be spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours editing something together and putting together your best work. You upload it and then suddenly you can't earn any money from it anyway. I can't pronounce that because it's like a Scrabble words fight into a page. Ken Rock or something 555. Rob, you could be learning ukulele now, and next week you can go live with your song about CVT gearboxes. That'd be good crackers. Ukulele. I could be learning ukulele. I need a ukulele. You can get one by the post without being broken bits like. Marcus Sullivan, hi Bob, future vid, what old cars to convert to electric? That's a good one, because I'm a firm believer that you can convert older cars to electric if they had a crap engine to begin with. So if the engine was rubbish, some of the old Rovers and things, they were good engines, but as reliable now as, useless things. They would be broken every time you start the car. They'd be worth going to electric. The DeLorean, I suppose, the engine wasn't great in them in the first place, so you have that option. There's a few cars out there that would be actually good to change over, but if it had a good engine, so if we look at a Jaguar E-Type that had like a big old V6 in them, that's a great engine to drive. The gearbox was crap made by Moss, which meant it wouldn't go into first if it was going forward. You had to go to a complete stop, put into first gear. The 3-speed Moss gearbox, a weird gearbox. And yeah, it's so some of the classic cars you shouldn't change, other ones you should. Darren Salisbury says, Ken, we zoomed off ahead of ourselves. Normal service will return in a moment. Once I find out where I was. There we are. Annie McAfee says, got all my cameras in the end. 4X Neo smart cams and 3... Oh, these are your security cams around the house. Blink signal at the side of the house was nil and one was scratched in the box. So I went to return to Amazon, wanted me to pay shipping. I protested the charge and I said just keep it and refund me the full amount. I like it. Plus an Echo Show 5 as part of the bundle deal. I'd like that. I'd like some security. I have a doorbell that activates like it's a camera. It's a Ring. They're very good. It works 90% of the time, 95% of the time maybe. But it never, like you pay a year and it never deletes any of your footage. You can look back at stuff for ages. Dougal says C63, RS5 or M4, take your pick. I think I might have an RS5 on that list. C63 AMG is actually a pretty good car. It's fun to drive, but it is like lively all the time, and you'll be constantly down to the bloody carpet on the tyres. They're very hard, the tyres. M4 never really did it for me. M3, yes. M4, it's too like a 4 Series. You could buy a 4 Series diesel debadged and nearly get away with having what looks like an M4, even though they're not related. So M4 and M3 are not even built in the same factory as a 3 Series or a 4 Series. All right, they're across the road from each other. I've been to the factories, but I prefer the RS5. RS5. It's subtle, it's clean, it's a great engine, and it's 4-wheel drive. It's a full quattro system in it as well. And it's not that bad on fuel, and it's not that bad on tyres. It makes more sense for a daily driver. Hellhound says Future Classics, new Jimny and VW GTI up. New VW GTI up, yes, that would be definitely Future Classic. I would suspect that Jimny would be collectible in maybe 30 years, like not in the next 10. I think 30 years from now people go, wow, look at the Jimny, that'd be really cool to have, yeah. But I think that design, although good, will date. It will date and it won't look as good in a couple of years' time. A bit like the current Land Rover Discovery won't look as good in a couple of years' time, I think. I think it'll date badly. Mini Eggs, is that a wooden crash test dummy on your top shelf behind you? Oh no, it's an art. It's one of those art things, isn't it? It's an artist dummy. So what you do with these things is you pose them and you can draw them. It's missing an arm, mind you, but you can pose them and draw them. So my kids love art and drawing and things. So we bought a little art dummy so that you can learn how to draw and do joints and things. I did art in school as well. So yeah, that's that one. Brian Crowley, hi Bob. What would you be your top 3 hot hatches? Keep up the good work with your unbiased reviews and honest opinions. Honest opinions. I like my honest opinions. 3 hot hatches. So St. Leon Cupra, all models have been great crack. All of them. And they've just gotten better over time. So even up to the brand new one, bloody good. Now, there is a brand new model of St. Leon coming out that I haven't seen the GTI of. Or not GTI, but Cupra version. A Golf GTI will be... Now, standard GTI, don't worry about Golf R for a minute. Golf GTI is all of the hot hatch you will probably ever really need. It's fast when you want it, but you can drop the kids to school, you can bring people home from work, you can go and set a lap time in Mondello, you can have great crack, you can do everything in a good Golf GTI. And it looks stylish at all times. You can get them in DSG, you can get them in manual. They just look the part. They're a great car, and forever you'll be happy in a standard GTI Golf. I would probably go a DSG version of it, just because if you ever spend any time at all in city traffic, a manual is just a pain in the ass. For the amount of times you're going to change gears, like, you might as well have an automatic box. Other hot hatches, there was an M1 that I don't think it's going to happen anymore, mind you, but there was an M1 that was really good a couple of years ago. That was an amazing hot hatch. The Mercedes A-Class AMG is actually pretty good, but I don't think I could live with it. I think after 3 or 4 years, it'd probably drive me insane, because it's a bit harsh here and there. But it's like, as a hot hatch goes, that's a good one to have, because it's an AMG, Annie McPhee says there have been reports of government procurement orders of PPE from China being bounced after ordered for another nation outbidding post agreement with the first. Yet this is going to continue. Everybody wants PPE now. It's funny how, we started hearing about coronavirus last November. Moving into December, coronavirus was actually a pretty big thing. January was where everybody thought that Europe really had a bout of it. Like, I was in Spain in January, people were really talking about coronavirus there. And yes, nobody ordered PPE. In February and in March, lockdown, bang, here we go. No PPE to be gotten now at this stage, too late. That's how governments are asleep. They're just asleep. They're just not thinking about this at all. Daz Senna says, hi Bob, how are you and the family doing? Fine, not a bother, Daz Senna. That's the Senna? You're the Senna? That Senna was dead. Mini eggs. How's Schumacher? Does anyone know how Schumacher is these days? Never hear anything about it anymore. I know people are saying he was awake, or he was mildly awake and maybe coming back, maybe doing this. Where is he? Like, it's been years since that crash or that fall he had out skiing and banged his head. I wonder how he is like. Sometimes, getting old, things just come back to you after a while. Mini Egg says Future Classic Golf R32 Mark V 100%. You can get one of them right now and you can put it in the garage. In 10 years time it's going to be double its price. Maybe not double, but it'll be definitely up, because R32 is, that badge even on the car is an amazing badge to have. If you can find a VW Lupo GTI as well, that's another one to add to the list of cars that will be 100% Future Classics. And Audi, what's the all aluminium Audi? Is that an Audi A1 or what the hell was that? The all aluminium one, you couldn't service yourself and all that sort of stuff. A weird car, came out and hung about for a while. That's going to be Future Classic as well. Tesla have paused deliveries in Ireland. They have to. They're on lockdown. No one's allowed to go anywhere anyway. Debbie McGuire says I've just lost everything. Andy McAfee might keep an eye there on Debbie McGuire. I have a feeling we're going that direction. Every week somebody turns up and does it a little bit weird. Byron's here. Howdy guys. And Bob was out cutting grass in the rain today, joining at 15:02. That's okay. You're late. You have a note. You delivered a note. You said you were late. That's alright. I can live with that. Barry Hughes. Hi Bob and all. I have to get tyres for my Kadjar. They're 19-inch wheels on one. Pricing tyres are ranging from 90 to 280. Bloody hell. With similar claimed performance. Any thoughts on selection? Okay, so price. The better the tyre, the better the grip, and the better water displacement you're going to get, but the least amount of time. So the more expensive, often that tyre won't last as long as a cheaper tyre, because cheaper tyres contain plastic instead of rubber. So they're harder compounds, so you don't get as much grip, but you tend to last a bit longer. The trade-off is when you slam on those brakes and you're going to rear end the car in front of you, those expensive tyres are going to stop you and the plastic tyres won't. Chances are you're going to slide a bit further than you thought you were going to do. So there is a bit of a trade-off on how much you can spend on a tyre to make it worth your while to keep it. Generally speaking, most tyres will last 3 to 5 years on any car, no matter what the tyre is, unless you're very hardened tyres, and a Kadjar isn't. In fairness, a Kadjar is not going to eat the tyres on you. Not the whole time, not unless you're accelerating like a lunatic or spinning your wheels the whole time. So you should get 3 to 5 years out of any tyre. Now, I wouldn't spend 280 quid a wheel, that's a bit much. But, 100, 110, 115 would be fairly standard up around for 19-inch wheels. That'd be something around the right price. Check the brands. The brands are always going to be good. Continental make very good tyres. Dunlop, who's the other crowd? Michelin I've used as well. They're all really good tyres. They do all the development of tyres. Anything else like Hang Kang or some other weird names you've never heard before in your life are copies. They're just copies. They're just cheap versions of the tyres. Byron says, you have to do a review of Bon of our Viking ride-on motor. Viking ride-on motor. Right, okay. You got a ride-on motor. Super quick and brilliant. Bought it cheap in December. If you're in Greystones, come and review it. That'd be a laugh, actually. I can't review cars at once. I go and review ride-on motors instead. Dermot Walsh, if you pass the service mileage on your car while the garage is closed at the minute, will it void the warranty in future? No. These things are outside of your control. There's nothing you can do about it. So you have no control over that end of stuff. You can't just stop driving your car because you reach your service limit. They're going to have to honour it because they closed. You didn't close them. They closed. They have to honour it. If you run into any problems like that in the future when you're getting your car serviced and they say to you you went over your service mileage and it's during the close time and you've got a problem, they won't honour something, you talk to me. You come to me and give me the details of that dealership and that information, and I'll create a story around it, and very quickly, it won't take long before you'll get what you want out of it, okay? That's unacceptable behaviour at any point, to penalise the user because they closed. Anywho, Mark Turner Smith, do you think all Suzuki dealers will survive? Have never understood their marketing strategy. Well, Suzuki as a company is a conservative Japanese company. They're very conservative what to do. They're very slow at progress. They make very deliberate moves. They will have thought about this, about closing down. Of course they're in trouble. Everybody's in trouble. But there isn't a Suzuki Ireland to be in trouble. There's Suzuki UK. So, and I know that people they're lovely. They're very good PR people, very nice. They come along every year to our Irish Car of the Year awards, and they're really lovely people. But they're very slow, very deliberate moves. So I don't think they will be in too much trouble because they will have their reserve funds. It's the ones that, like Fiat, like Alfa Romeo, they were already in a bit of trouble. Even Opel, they were already in a bit of trouble. They're just going to withstand it now because of Peugeot. Or PSA in general, but the ones that were already kind of at desperate measures will be at incredibly desperate measures. Even someone like Nissan, who only had a Qashqai at the top of the sales chart, but other than that, was struggling to find models. Just to have enough models on the market. Not everybody wants a Qashqai. Oh my God, we're flying through this. I'm answering questions from still over half an hour ago. I'm sorry. Corrigine 71. Fiat make great diesel engines. They do, in fairness they do, yeah. Which rival VW TDI. Not many people know this. It was Fiat who designed the TDI and sold the VW. That is correct. Also, basically nearly every van that you see come out, whether it's Peugeot, Toyota, Fiat, any of those Ducato things, they basically all have Fiat engines. The Fiat diesel engine stuff has been around for years, and they make really ultimate reliable stuff in the diesel category of things, and have been selling the stuff for generations. And people go, fix it again tomorrow with Fiats. It's not the engines. The engines tend to be very good. Their petrol engines now maybe not quite as good, but their diesel stuff is absolutely outstanding. Electrics now, that's a whole different video. Flavin Knight Disciple says, do you think the fuel prices will rise to compensate the garages when COVID-19 is over despite the glut? No, they can't. In fairness, diesel and petrol prices are based on the market value, and sticking them up at the moment, see, nobody's buying diesel right now. Nobody. The petrol stations must remain open as they're part of the emergency group, but nobody's really buying any fuel. Like, who's bought any fuel? I haven't bought any. John McAlinden has sent some money by PayPal. You're very good, John. Thank you very much. You're so generous today. You're very good. We will stay until the bitter end to entertain you for as long as I possibly can. M. Jones, is there a difference between PCP and US leasing? Leasing is a very different thing than PCP. So PCP is a personal contract plan. You are making a contract with the dealership to buy the car over a period of 3 years. Okay, so you pay a deposit, you pay finance every month for 3 years. At the end of it, there is a balloon payment to pay off the end, or you can hand the keys back at no further cost. You lose everything you paid up to that point. Or you can continue with them. You pay off the finance, but you buy another car in the dealership, and they offer you good rates for that. The US leasing system is very similar to the Irish leasing system. You lease a car. With leasing, you usually don't pay a big deposit if you've ever done it before. Sometimes you pay a deposit up front for the first time you lease a car, but every 6 months or 12 months you change that car out for another car that's on the leasing list, and often you just get a list of cars, you pick the one you want, and that's the one you're leasing from the company. So it's a different system. You never own a car in a lease. So you're not buying it out. You're not going to pay it off at any point. You're just going to hand it back at the end of the lease. Some leasing agreements will say if the car is 3 years old or 4 years old, that you have the option of buying it out, whatever's left of it, at the end of the lease. So leasing is an oddball thing, and sometimes it comes up okay. But it's leasing over here will be for company cars. So a company that has several or 10 employees will lease out cars for them. DBM Gaming says, question from my dad. Do you think there will be many what's that? I don't know what that means. There's a word there in the middle of that, I'm not sure. Financed cars, I'm sure it probably is. Maybe. Question from my dad. Do you think that many finance cars will be repossessed? Only if you stop paying the finance. If you stop paying the finance and you haven't arranged to stop paying the finance with the company, they're going to repossess your car. That's the legal thing. That's the law. That's how it works. And it doesn't really matter whether we've got a pandemic or not. If you contact your finance company and say, listen, we're in the middle of a pandemic and my job has died, I have zero income, then you tell them the truth. And if they go, well, look, hold on to the car for a couple of months to get back on your feet, then that's fine. That's okay. Then you can pause your payments and pause whatever it is. It's always about communication. Multiple people out there who get themselves into financial difficulties at this time of the year or in this kind of crisis are people who often don't contact the bank or don't contact the finance company. They don't make any arrangements whatsoever. They just kind of ignore it and hope that it will just happen on its own there. You got to take control of these things. If you contact the finance company and say, listen, my job is gone, I have no money right now, there's nothing I can do about this, is a pandemic, the result of a pandemic, what can I do? And try and figure out between the two is whether you have to give the car back, whether you can stop the payments for 3 or 4 months and no interest accrues. Be careful of interest accruing. A lot of mortgage companies out there, banks said that they give us 3 months off. Bull. They weren't giving you 3 months off. They're going to charge you interest on the interest over those 3 months and add it to the term. Could cost you twice as much to pause your mortgage moment than it would saved by pausing your mortgage. Just so you know. Deborah McGuire, I think I went to school with your wife, Catherine Bob. Can you ask her if she remembers me maiden name, Deborah Doyle, or DD as I was known? Deborah Doyle, you hear Deborah Doyle? No. She says no, so it's a no. Doug M, 1971. Were you born in 1971? You're a year older than me. What do you think is better, Bob? Peugeot Rifter with its small steering wheel, or Citroën Berlingo equivalent with, I think, a little cheaper? Thanks, Doug. I love the Rifter, but there's a camping version that was really, really nice. They never brought it out for some strange reason. I would go with Citroën. You're eventually buying the same car, but I would find the Citroën a little bit better to live with because of the normal size steering wheel, and you get the same gearbox, same engine, same storage units essentially. It's essentially identical car, but you get a better steering wheel in it. I just can't stand that little steering wheel. And you know, everybody goes, I like steering wheel. I tell you why I don't like it. Because you are constantly adjusting it. You're on a motorway, you're driving along, and you're constantly twitching that steering wheel all the time because it's small. So any little tiny movement in it makes a big change on the road. Whereas a big steering wheel, you get into that Passat there and go down a motorway, you barely touch the thing. It just keeps straight and true all the time. So bigger steering wheel for me. So I got a Citroën Berlingo, those two. But either will give you essentially the same result. And if the Berlingo is a little bit cheaper, then why not? Money's better off in your pocket. Brian O'Donnell changed my SUV diesel last year for a petrol crossover and will keep it for 5+ years to see what's available then. Was looking second-hand hybrid, but choices were few. See in 5 to 6 years. You're probably right. We're gonna in say 3 years we're gonna see the result of this lockout of the market, right? It'll happen pretty quickly. So for the next 2 years, there's cars that are halfway through being made, and there's fields of cars that were made for delivery. So there's a lot of cars sitting in fields waiting to be delivered in. They'll wash through. January next year is going to be a bit of a problem, and then when we see into halfway through next year and into the year after, you're going to see the drying up of used cars because we'll have gone through this point of the pandemic. Doran says, I can pay the value of the car now and own it and do not do the full 3 years PCP. If you can do that, if you have the cash to do that, Doran, definitely buy it. Anytime you can get a chance to get out of finance scot-free, and I mean that you're not paying off early, so you're subject to some sort of great big a balloon payment, or you don't have to pay a fine, or you don't have to pay off extra interest. If you can get out of finance early and clean, do it every single time, because the money is better off gone from your account and you own the product in front of you than having this thing hanging over you for 3 years. Who knows where we're going to be in 12 months' time? Maybe you won't have enough money to do it in 12 months. Maybe you won't have a job in 12 months' time. Maybe when it comes to the 3-year mark, you're going to be in deep trouble. So if you can get out of it early, get out of finance early every time. Fergal Griffin. Bob, do you think that the coronavirus will seriously stem the production of new electric cars and that petrol engines will be available for more several years as a result? I think the petrol and diesel engines were going to be available for the next 10 or 15 years. Easily. PHEV is starting to climb back into the saddle and it's getting there. These things all have to wash through. So you buy a car and it goes into second-hand value and then keeps going. It's still going to be there. It just won't be made in the future. So electric cars right now were very expensive. The components are quite hard to get. Everybody's clawing at supplies. So you have so many companies like Volkswagen, Seat, Skoda, Audi, Mercedes, Peugeot, Opel. You've got all these companies who suddenly want batteries. And you've only got Tesla, who make their own batteries. They have their own battery organization. They thought about that to begin with. And you have the Chinese, who were on pandemic alert for this closing down whole countries and stuff, who are making most of the battery components and mining most of the battery components. You've got places in the Congo that are under pandemic thing. You can't get the raw materials. It's going to be difficult. You're going to find supply is going to be difficult going into the future, and we're going to have trouble trying to get some of these cars by the end of the year. The ones that are there, the supply that's already made, the batches that are already built, that's a different story entirely. They're already here. But you've got Volkswagen now who wants to ramp up with ID3 and ID4. I've seen both of them. ID4 I've seen on the virtual stand thing. There's another one there. I can't think of the name of it now. Another Volkswagen was on that virtual tour the other day. It looks deadly. These are all electric cars. So these all need batteries. These all need raw components. These all need electric components to be made. There's nobody making nothing at the moment other than PPE equipment. So even car companies are making ventilators. Seat are making components for ventilators down in Spain. So like they're all at it now. Doug M 1971. By the way, how's your old Paul McGann? Haven't heard from Paul in ages. I need a haircut though. Let me get him over here now. Is it a barber he is? That's right, he's a master barber, yeah. Those videos you did were great crack. Would you do more together? We have planned to do something in the summer. Don't know what we're going to do now, to be honest with you, but the way pandemic thing is going, you might just stay 6 meters apart. Paul stinks anyway, he smells. He doesn't, he's a lovely guy. We'll do something in summer. Going to do something with him, going to do something with Marek Drives. There's plans afoot to do things all over the place. There was loads of plans afoot to do all kinds of things until this pandemic hit. So we'll see if we can get that all working again and back to normal. There's also plans of a TV show, which could be happening too, still. That'll be on something like Discovery Channel. Gavin1306 says, Bob, why don't the government just remove VRT from all the new cars for the foreseeable future and help out the car industry? Because it is their biggest income. If you look at VRT in relation to VAT or tax on cigarettes or any of those other kind of taxes they collect, VRT just monsters them. It's a gigantic income for the government. So the only way to do it is to move the VRT on something else, call it something else if you want, but to remove it from the car industry, remove it from the price of cars. Would it encourage you to buy another car? Don't know. It's hard to say how much of a big difference it's going to make. If you take away, the other part of that is if you take away VRT, you devalue all the used cars as well. So all VRT has to go. It can't just be VRT on new cars and VRT on old cars. So if you're driving a car that's currently worth 10 grand, it's now worth 9 or 8.5 because VRT has gone off it. So that's also possible. Debbie says, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles Ireland are, okay. We might have to put you in timeout, Debbie. Raise it up, talk about different thing. Sorry, we can't help. Tommy Turf Malt. Guinness can 500ml pint glass 568. See, told you. A pint of Guinness is not exactly a pint inside a can. Doesn't change the flavour up much. Guinness is lovely. I kind of gone off beers and things. I don't yeast in the beers or something in the beers. Maybe it's the chemicals or something in the beers. Cheaper beers like Carlsberg or something. make me come out in all kinds of dry skin and weirdness. Now, if I drink wine, which is very easy to drink a bottle of wine, if I drink red wine, I don't get that problem. So beers seem to have a bit of an effect on me. Now, expensive beers don't seem to have the same effect. I think expensive beers because there's less chemical additives to clean them and things in them. So I'd imagine that's it. I'm not a beer drinker per se, but I quite like some of the more expensive ones. The beer you get in is it Croatia? No, not Croatia. Czech Republic. They give you a pint of head of a beer, and you stand there going, "Where's the beer? Why you give me a pint of head?" Because you're supposed to get the pint of head in it to line your stomach for drinking the beer. So you drink a sort of a head of beer, and then you drink a beer. It's very strange. They're nice people, but they've got some weird habits. Paul Hickey, hi Bob. Any thoughts on a 2016 Audi A7 3-litre S-Tronic S-Line Ultra Reliable? Yes, the 3-litre engine, ultra reliable. Hard to work on, not much space. So if you actually wanted to service it or do anything to it yourself, there's not much room to get your hands in or do anything around. It's kind of hard to get the air filter or the oil filter off the bottom. But dead reliable car. Big engines, no problems with that at all. There's the one thing I've seen pop up online a couple of times is on the back of the car. There's a little spoiler that pops up at 62 kilometers an hour, or is it 102 kilometers an hour? It pops up at some point. You can't see when it's parked. You can actually deploy. There's a button for deploying it. There's a fuse, or sometimes dirt gets into the little joints that are back there. It needs to be lubricated, and it gets stuck on the way up and blows the fuse. That's the only I've ever seen going wrong with Audi A7 at any year. Was that little spoiler at the back. But the engine, 3-litre engine, brilliant car, hard to work in the engine, but a good car, yeah. DBM Gamer says, I once saw an idiot with a non-electric scooter go straight through a red light because of a junction and nearly got run over. Non-electric scooter. I tell you lads, I've ridden on the kids' scooters. They've got them, well, they're not kids, they're adult-sized scooters, but the kids ride them. And about 5 seconds after going on a scooter, I'm knackered. And I can run a 10k. And I'd be knackered on a scooter. They're great workouts for one leg. John McLeanan says, no ad. Is that Leanan? Leanan, yeah. No ad before the Sunday service here in California. You should be able to put on preset sync delay on the video. Put in the preset sync delay on video. Don't know how to do that. Is there a preset sync somewhere? Yet, I look at things like Stream Health and all. It's absolutely fine. Stream is healthy, excellent. Everything's running as normal, no problem. Viewer activities all going fine as well. The settings are here, analytics are good. It's all great. Just weird that I get a sort of desync in the middle of it. And there's some other problems as well. Now, like I say, it could be the laptop. I must go through all the settings again. But mostly I do this as a radio show rather than a visual thing. I mean, why would you want to stare at my ugly mug with long hair for 2 hours? Tony O'Sullivan, Tony O'Sullivan says, even after paying the VRT, it's still a lot cheaper to buy a car up north. Love the channel. Probably is, Tony. Well, it depends on the car, depends on the model and the deal you're getting. Every deal is different. So you could do a deal up the north for a car and end up saving a fortune. Other people do deals for north or do the deal up the north and don't save half as much. So it's a bit weird. According to what I'm seeing right now, I have had 3,696 people have watched. 3,700 people have watched today. It just popped up there. Thank you all very much. You're very good for joining me. I'm not finished yet. We'll keep going until we get to the end of this. I'm answering questions from about a half an hour ago. So we'll still be going for another half an hour. So relax. Grab a cup of tea there. My coffee's gone cold, but it's okay. Cold coffee doesn't close the larynx. Cross says, an Irish pint is 570 mils. We rounded up when we metricated. I like it. We went up a little bit. So our pint is bigger. So we're better. It'd be better rounded up to 1 litre. You know what I noticed as well, actually? No, just said it, Andy. Lidl have bottles of wine that are 1 litre now. Big ones. Big thing. I've never drank one. I don't know what it's like. When I used to live in New Zealand, you could go to the off license in New Zealand, or to big off licenses are big in New Zealand, but you go to the off license and you could buy a box of wine, a cardboard box. Now you can get them here in Ireland, but they're the same price as buying a bottle of wine. It's just like buying 3 bottles of wine. But in New Zealand, the box was seen as a cheap yoke. So you got good wine from a local dude in a box. So you could buy like 2 litres of wine in a box and just drink it at home. Like it was growing up the road. Great stuff. But we don't seem to have that here at all. Cross says we had to have the extra 2 mils. Of course. Sure. What else would you leave in the bottom of your glass but 2 mils? Hold on, I'm going to get a little jump forward now. Wow, there's a lot of questions still to go, isn't there? Here we are. I'm back to where I was. Answering his own question. Do you ever drive a VW Fox? I did drive a Fox years ago. There's actually two of them here in the town driving around. A woman drives a Fox. I can't remember what year it is, but it's just a plain. It is the basic entry-level VW Fox 3-door, which I have great respect for. Anybody who buys, it's like buying a Dacia Sandero and buying just like the base, the one without the radio in it. I have a respect for that in the back of my mind, because that's a choice. Somebody made a really big choice about buying that car. So, but yes, I have driven a Fox. Dreadful car in my view. You don't see any still on the road. There's two mini eggs in Portlaoise. You want to come and see one. They weren't the worst car in the world, in fairness. They weren't designed for Ireland. They were more designed kind of. Mexico has a lot of their own cars. South America, Brazil and places have a lot of their own cars. So sometimes those cars get designed for over there, and then you just go, well, look, let's just put one out in Ireland or England or France or somewhere as well, just for the crack, because see if we sell any over there. The spares end up over there. The VW Up was a big improvement on the Fox. It certainly was. VW Up is still one of the nicest cars, but I really, really like a Skoda Citigo Monte Carlo. There's a black one here in Portlaoise that I drive by regularly, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Such a pretty little. The size and shape and dimensions and proportions stuff, just gorgeous. Carol Early says, hey, I'm a huge fan. Thanks, Carol. Very good to have you. Hit the subscribe button if you're that way inclined. Minsk is here. Bob, you need to do a series of your top fives, like the best looking, best bang for your buck, best interior, best ride, etc. That's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah. Okay. Daz Senna says, Bob, why is the Toyota Prius Plus radio and sat-nav so slow? Love your videos. What do you mean slow? It's slow to start up. The problem with a lot of electronics, this happens in Volkswagens, it happens in Peugeots, happens in all of them, to be honest with you. On a cold morning, whatever it is about the chill or the damp of Ireland, it takes a while for sat-navs and for radios and things to boot up. I have driven the kids halfway to school once upon a time in a Toyota Corolla, and the radio hadn't started yet. So it can happen. It can happen pretty much anything. And I'm sure it's just down to the kind of damp climate we have here. I don't think it'll be long-term much of a problem. I don't find the rest of them very slow. Once I actually get going, they're fine. Hellhound, do you see the new VW Spitty on your Facebook with a Tesla motor? No, I did not see that yet. I haven't been in there for a while. I was in my Sunday Service channel this morning. I think it was the last time I was in the Sunday Service Facebook page. See, I don't do a lot of Facebook. I tend to go to Facebook and go straight to the Sunday Service thing, and then I go out again. I disappear, and I don't even answer direct messages or nothing. Facebook to me is a very negative space. It can be very, very quick to give you the dreamland 5G is killing us all stuff, like instantaneously. You land there and it's like, well, coronavirus is because of 5G mass or something mental, and the more you see it, the more you start to believe it. And that's the problem. That's the problem with these things. They get into your brain after a while. Twitter's gone a bit like that too. David Allen says, my Subaru has a flat tyre. Any advice? Pump it up, get a new tyre. But that's it really. Unless you have a tyre inflation kit in your boot that you can seal it with, there's nothing else you can do. You can buy that inflation gum stuff in places like Halfords if they're still open, or Motor Factors or whatever, or you can buy it online. But generally speaking, they destroy a tyre once it goes through. It's gone through. You may just buy a new one. It's the only way out of it, I'm afraid. Eric Malone is a generous person by Super Chat. You're very kind. Thank you very much. Replace it with a tyre, Davis, is Andy McAfee. That's the right answer. Audi A2, all aluminium Audi. That's the one. It's the A2. That is the collectible car of the future. If you can get a clean one, and I'm telling you, you're going to have to learn how to be a panel beater, because those little aluminium, a ding in them yokes, they're very hard to repair. And you can't service them, not yourself. But it is definitely, buy a petrol one. The diesel one was good, really good fuel economy, but dear God, you're going to service that thing to the death. It's quite finicky on its oil as well. Petrol one didn't care less what you put into it. It's fine. Renault are bringing back 4 as an EV. A Renault 4. A Renault 4! My God. Why would you want to bring back a Renault 4? My father owned a Renault 12. My brother owned a Renault 18. 18 had a 2-litre petrol engine in it, and the gear stick was in the dashboard, and it had no seatbelts. That was my brother's car, and he drove everywhere at about 100 miles an hour. Timothy, my brother, still over in England now, but pretty much everywhere at 100 miles an hour with no seatbelts, and it had a bench seat in the front. You put 3 people in the front and 3 people in the back. 6-seat car, great car. I've never seen one since. I've never seen a decent Renault 18 on the road since. Future classic golf club sport S, yeah, would be. That's very modern, but yeah, you're going to wait a few years before that's a proper classic. Is the Beamer you're talking about the M140i? Yes, the M140i, the hot hatch from earlier. David Allen doesn't realise why he just didn't think of changing the tyre. There you go. See? Byron says Schumacher is at home and basically brain damage beyond helping himself. He's just existing, and family have news on strict lockdown on a breathing machine most likely, and anybody and body rotated off. And that incredible how you can. Life is short, lads. Life is very, very short. Enjoy what you have. Don't ever think it's not going to end or you're invincible. You look at a man who was on the ragged edge of life, a Formula 1 driver, top of his game, absolutely invincible, multi-millionaire, was always multi-millionaire, skiing, one accident, bang, you're a vegetable, or you're whatever he is, and life is over. That's that. So just keep it in your head that life is short. If you want motivation to get something done with your life, just remember it's short. That's all you really got to do. Niall McHugh says Audi A2 was all aluminium with petrol and diesel options. Yeah, all aluminium exterior. There was only actually one dealership in Ireland who could repair the body, and it was in Northern Ireland, of the A2 when it came out, because it's aluminium. It's fairly handy to damage. You can't clean it or wash it like normal, but you can't just tap out the damage. If you can't just use a suction pad and suck out like dents and things. Not that straightforward. Robert Doyle. Thoughts on a Renault Fluence? I find it a lovely, comfortable car with a huge enough 1.5 DCI engine. Do you know what? A lot of people don't like the Fluence, and it's fairly basic, right? And like it's a bit utilitarian, but actually getting a car of its size at that price point is quite hard. Getting anything even remotely as big as that car, because it's a big car. You could get 5 people in that. You could get 5 suitcases into the boot of it. It came in electric as well. It was a Renault ZE, really short range. So short, I drove it from Sandyford to Portlaoise, but I had to stop in Junction 14 for a top up of fuel. There was not enough electricity to get home. But the diesel one, 1.5 DCI, invincible engine. Lasts forever, that car. A bit noisy, but a good car, good value for money. David Allen says, I was watching political news when this auto played. It's odd, I don't watch auto videos. Really? Good. Stop watching political news. It's bad for your mental health. It's bad for everything. Too much news is bad for you. Just is. I have to give a big shout out. We got a mention in the Daily Mail from our friend Philip Nolan, who sent me the screenshot of it. I don't think I saved it. It's in my WhatsApp. But he sent me, he's very good. He sent me the clippings of the Sunday service, which was mentioned in the Daily Mail, in the TV section. We made the Sunday service in there. Now, would you believe that? So we're in the national press now, and got a lot of contact from other places as well. Lots of stuff going on about the way the Sunday service is behaving right now and how fast it's growing. Nearly on 4,000 views today. So it's huge, beyond where I ever thought it would be. It's much bigger than I thought it was. Tony S says, Bob, no spare tyre of any kind came with my Ford Fiesta ST3. Got a repair kit instead. Would you recommend buying and storing a spare tyre? I would. When you're driving home someday and you're on the back end of nowhere stuff, and you just want to get home, and a puncture happens, nothing ruins your day like a puncture. Nothing on earth ruins your day like a puncture. So you pull over and you open the boot and you look in, and there's a can of gun gum stuff that's not worth anything to you because the tyre is ripped or torn or poked through, And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it inflates the tyre just enough to get home, but how you still got to get the bloody tyre. You still got to get change of the tyre. Having a spare tyre gives you better options. You can go anywhere, you can drive on the way you were driving on before if it's a full size. If it's a skinny one, you're restricted to 80 kilometers an hour. You should, by the way, if it blows out, it gets too hot over 80 kilometers an hour. But yeah, if you can get a spare tyre for it, Tony S, definitely. Daniel Ford, hi, where do I stand? I was picking up my new Focus ST the day of the lockdown, which was too late. Will the dealer have to honour the deal with my trade-in? All paperwork signed. Cheers. Yes. Everything pauses. So any deals that are beyond your control and beyond their control. This is something the government and the coronavirus at the back of that, but the government has done to us, right? So everything just pauses. Your deal remains the same. Nothing should alter. If your dealer is not willing to honour it, you have to continue driving your own car, so you put an extra mileage on it. If he's not willing to offer that, walk away. It's your money. All deals go out the window when there's what would be termed act of God, or something beyond the control of everyone out there. So it's not your fault. So definitely the deal should stand as normal. If it doesn't, give me the name and details of the dealer and I will make a phone call and ask some pertinent questions. Often having it's not that I have any kind of power at all. I don't know dealers. I don't know. It's not that I claim to have that sort of influence, but 99% of the time, having someone ring up like me and start asking questions on behalf of a newspaper or a story or whatever often triggers a goodness to come out in people very quickly. All of a sudden, everyone's going, well, I don't really want to be featured in the newspaper by the fact that I'm after doing somebody out of money. My Subaru didn't come in a full-size spare. It has a donut. They're fine. That's okay. Change over to donut. 80 kilometers an hour restriction. But it'll get you around. It's going to keep working. It's no different from an ordinary tire. It's just skinny. That's all. A company called RD Coach Trim made scrubs for the frontline staff. Material donated to them, and they made hundreds of scrubs. FOC, fair play to all. Well done, RD Coach Trim. Congratulations. A dessert, Tom Skelly, nice. David Allen, I dread going to the Walmart COVID-19 hotspot to get a replacement tyre. Yeah, no, yeah. Well, everybody does. Put a mask on, put gloves on, make sure you stay 2 meters away from everybody, and do not go outside the door without washing your hands, and do not come back in without washing your hands. Bob, when will petrol go off, lose its octane in all cars, part of 4 months maybe? What's the life of petrol period? Petrol, no problem. Petrol lasts for years in a tank. It loses its octane, it loses its performance then. So you won't get the same compression ratio. You won't get the same performance from a performance engine car with old petrol in it. But petrol will actually last a couple of years standing in a tank. Now, if it's an older tank, if it's a metal tank in a car, it can rot the inside of the tank from standing still. If it's a modern one, like the plastic tanks, not going to do anything to it at all. But what happens to petrol in a petrol can when it's left standing on the side of the road, right? Or putting in your garage or whatever, it's often UV that actually burns the outside of the can, and petrol goes off inside the can. Sometimes petrol is corrosive and it can eat the can from the inside out, start leaking out. So it's not that it's losing octane inside the can, it's just that it won't work very well. There's Philip Nolan now. Look, Philip Nolan has dropped in and donated some money with Super Chat. It says, here, get yourself a bottle of red for the mention. Now, in the Irish Daily Mail, there you go. Go and buy the Irish Daily Mail and the paper. It's very good for you. Or subscribe online. They do a subscription service as well. If you can't get outside the door to buy the paper, you can subscribe. There's a bit still answering. Hellhound, the Jimny has been pulled from production for poor emissions. I know. See, conservative Japanese company take a long time, then just go, look, we're not going to do anything with it. We'll just pull it from, forget about it. As if like we're selling hundreds of these cars, but you know what? We can't meet the emissions stage. Let's just stop selling them. There's a strange company. Robert Doyle. A question from my dad. He has a rental van because he is a wheelchair taxi driver. He had a Citroen Dispatch 1.6 HDI. He couldn't get it into fifth gear and reverse. Is there any van that you could recommend? Why couldn't? Is it because he's disabled, or because he had wheelchair access he couldn't pull it over to his leg, or he couldn't reach that direction to push it into fifth or reverse? Is that what you're talking about? Because Citroen do I won't say upside down gearboxes, but they do the reverse of a lot of companies. So Volkswagen, for instance, would be down, and you push down on the gear stick over to the left and push up away from you for reverse. Sometimes Citroen, Peugeot, PSA put in the reverse of that, so you push down and you pull towards you and then down towards you again, and it can change. So you'd have to find out what way the gearbox you want around. Volkswagen will definitely solve the problem here straight away, because the gearbox is up on the dashboard in the equivalent Transporter is the Volkswagen version of that. PSA will have all the same gearbox, so if you change from a Citroen Dispatch to a Peugeot, whatever the Peugeot version of it is, you're going to get the same gearbox in it. So you're going to have to get away from the French gearboxes is the problem there, and into something more Germanic or English or something. David Allen, this has been a great tie to my fuel and keeping my truck tanks full. Good man. Simon McGrath says Kona or E-Niro. I would go to E-Niro. Kona's too small. Kona's good range, but very small and a bit plasticky on the inside, but very small. E-Niro is a bigger car, much more like a kind of car, like a 5-seat car with a normal boot and things, whereas the Kona is very small. McAfee says same thing. Andy says same thing. E-Niro, personally, mainly because it's bigger and a lot less odd looking. I think that too. Post-apocalypse, when the restrictions are lifted, we need a Sunday service barbecue with extra barbecue. I think he's right. I think we need to take over a little field somewhere and bring a pile of cars and have a barbecue. I think I might know a man who can do a roast pig as well. You know, a suckling pig thing on a barbecue? Could be. ST says, Bob, you remind me of Bill Hader. I get that a lot. Bill Hader, yeah. From the very beginning, the very moment I started this channel, I used to get compared to that Bill Hader. I don't know if Bill Hader knows there's just a far better looking version of him out there on the internet. But, you should get in touch with him. Tell him I was asking for him. He's a nice chap, seemingly. Irish Foxhound said, the liquid of a Guinness can is 500 mils. The head makes the other 68 mil. I love, you know what, the mathematics behind a can of Guinness is a really good thing to have on a day out in the Sunday service. I like it. This trying to figure out if we have bigger cans than other people and bigger bottles and bigger pint glasses. That's probably why a pint is like €5. I don't know, when was the last time I bought a pint in the pub, but it's probably about €5 in a pint for a pint in the pub, because there's an extra 2 mils in it. David Allen, I have a Chevy K20 pickup, a dual gas tanks. Chevy. I like I've always liked that word Chevy. I don't like Chevrolet, but I like the word Chevy for some reason. It's weird. Simon McGrath, that's my massively unqualified opinion. Bob haven't been able to offer his expert. What did I do? Simon McGrath asked what? I don't know. I'd have to go back through all the bleeding comments, find out what the comment. I probably answered it. We're still hopping around. Still answering questions. We're okay. We're still here. I'm still I was catching you, but I'm not catching up very quickly, I have to say. Mark Turner's been, he's answering. David Allen, 700 milliliters, 750 milliliters. We're having bottles of whiskey competition now. We've gone to whiskey now. 700 ml bottle of whiskey. You still have access to international customs free zone with an off license in it. Not a spirits with minimum 1 litre bottle and a fraction of the price. You know what? The greatest surprise I ever had was going to France with Skoda once upon a time in a little. We'd done the Skoda Fabia, was it? I think it was the Fabia. We drove it from Portugal all the way up through Portugal, Spain, and into France. And then just as we came out of France, we went into a off license. We started to buy crates of wine, and it was so cheap. It was £2 for rosé. And it was okay. And red and white. And we brought home cases of wine in the boot of the Fabias. It was great. VW Fox was built in Mexico. See, Mexicans and Brazilians, they like that. Shiloh and Layla says, hello everyone. Bob, just bought a 161 Passat. Congratulations, William Hayes. I have to say it's the most beautiful car to drive, and I love it. They are beautiful cars. Volkswagen have always made 3-box saloon and estate cars incredibly well. They do hatchbacks in the Golf version very well. They make stable, they make good stable cars. Good evening, Bob. Keep safe, says Ocean Froggy. Thanks very much. William Hayes, Bob just bought a one. You see that did that as well. David Allen, similar story here. Colorado house stores limiting purchase of certain items. We have limits here in Ireland as well. You can just buy 2 or 3 of most things in the shop, unless there's loads of them there. But no shortage. yesterday there was no eggs in Aldi. They come and go, they come in because like it's a natural product. It's been laid by a hen, and they're in high demand. So you can't make the hens lay more. So if people go in and continually buy 5 dozen eggs and bring them home because we're all baking as well, this is what's going on. So people are making more things at home. So things are running out in the shops. But we've had no real supply problems. There's nothing we've really needed that we couldn't get in either Lidl, Aldi, Super Value, Tesco. We haven't really been in Tesco too much because it's inside a shopping centre, and so you'd have to go in past a lot of people who are going to, like Pennies or Boots or somewhere. So we tend to go to the ones that are open air. Michael Schumacher's son will be racing in F2 this year. It'd be interesting to see that. See who. Well, a lot of pressure on that young man, though, wouldn't it be? Michael Schumacher's son. That'd be a lot of pressure. Peugeot Partners is Robert Doyle. Peugeot Partner, yeah. From the rental firm. David Allen, saw you've been saying since January the panic will be worse than the virus. Not that the virus isn't serious, just the panic is worse. Well, in fairness, the virus for some is not serious. For 14% it'll be more serious. And then like there's a 2% mark where it's very serious for them. They need ICU treatments. But for like 14% of the people will have a heavier dose of the virus than others. Whereas for me, chances are, I hope, fingers crossed, if I get it, that it would be quite mild. And even if it's not, I'm fit enough, I'm well enough to be able to withstand pretty much anything, But there's still a nervous in my head. I would still be nervous about getting it. I still don't want the bloody thing, and I don't want it in my house either. Ocean Fox says, great to hear that the Garda lifted 4 cars here in Wicklow that were blocking emergency vehicle access to the local forest, towed away. Selfish gets, she gets stay home. I still have a problem with this whole thing of stay at home, don't go to local scenery, amenity stuff. Me and the family here, we used to go on walks up in Sleep Bloom every week. We go up there the whole time. No problem. We used to come and go the whole time. Now people have nothing to do. They all want to go as well. Everybody suddenly wants to go to the mountains. So it's packed. So we found other places to go. But realistically, if I went up Sleep Bloom today on my own in the car, I'm not going to be spreading any coronavirus. There's nothing up there. No one's up there. Still flying through some questions. We're still going to have a few more. My chicks are too young to lay eggs, hopefully by the summer. Debbie McGuire says I need a Kiki, whatever it is. DBN Gaming, the problem is that we'd have to go and bring our own barbecue for social distancing. You may, yeah, just bring a little barbecue and we'll all go into a field onto the different corners of it and we'll just shout, and I'll run a live Sunday service from the far side of the field. It'll all be fine. It'll work out nicely. Listen folks, it is now 4:20. You've been very good to join me for the last 2 hours and 20 minutes. I might have to recover from this for a little bit. I will try to get out a few more videos over the next couple of days. The next one will be the L200 video. Then I'm going to film that Passat. I've found some locations to film the Passat on, and I might do a podcast, a separate podcast from the Sunday Service podcast, because the podcast proven very, very popular, and I'll do a few top 5 videos and maybe a gaming video during the week as well. I'll try my best to keep you as occupied as I possibly can. But you're absolutely brilliant for having me along today into your little homes and houses and mobile phones and whatever other device you've been clicking on. Thank you very much for all the donations. Please keep any of that coming that you can, if you can. There's Pat Nolan's, the last comment popped up there a second. It says, hi Bob, I'm listening in the car on the way to work. It's great you have 4,000 viewers today. We get them all to give you a like. Thank you very much. You're very good. Yeah, a little bit over 4,000 playbacks so far that I see there. 4,800 and something. So that's happy. I'm happy if 10 people turn up, I'd still be doing it. I like doing this, so it's good fun to do it. It's great crack, and it's great to have you all along. Thank you very much for watching today, and look after yourselves over next week. Wash your hands, stay at home, stay 2 meters from everybody around you. 3 weeks and we get through this. Honestly, 3 weeks, that's all we need. 3 clear weeks and we'll get there. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, I will see you on the far side.